Today on Doomed! Hello everyone and welcome to yet another episode of Doomed. I am your host, Matt Binder, and on this week's episode, we'll be looking at a few things that have been in the news this week, hence this week's episode. But what you have to look forward to in this upcoming episode is we're going to be talking about the recent new, I guess, or old, as in really old, abortion law that is now in effect in Arizona. We'll also be looking at this incredible Jesse Watters clip. I think actually, let me pull myself up on the feed here. The entrance. It's WrestleMania week, so I got entrance music on my head. But the intro song, the podcast theme is over. So let me pull myself up on the feed here. Hello. Yeah, I was thinking, I said this last week. And of course, I ended up doing like a full episode and then getting into calls. But this week, I would like to take calls early for people to call in. Been having a lot of people trying to call in. And everybody's been getting through because we simply run out of time. And I get tired. And once I get tired, I stop taking calls. I mean, I could potentially just sit here and pick up the phone as you all call in until I take every single call. But I feel like I wouldn't be giving you my all. It'll just be talking to a body, a sack of meat that can barely pay attention because he's falling asleep in front of the screen. So when I'm feeling tired, I'd rather just say, all right, guys, that's the show. Because I want to give you all my all. Eh? All right, so let's start with this actually, because I think we need to start on this note. We need to start on this note because this clip has been all I've been thinking about since I've seen it. It is so hilarious and enraging at the same time. This is Schmegly in the live chat on YouTube says. Schmegly says, valuetainment incoming. Yes, valuetainment incoming. So Jesse Watters, Fox News host, has a sack of meat. Yeah, if I'm not paying, what good if Gary, when I called myself a sack of meat, I mean, if I'm just sitting here not paying attention to you, what good am I? So when you call in, I got to be awake. That's what I mean. But like Schmegly said, valuetainment incoming indeed. So the PBD podcast is a pretty big podcast on the right. What's the guy's name again? What does PBD stand for? Patrick Bet David or something like that? David? Yeah, Patrick Bet David. He's the owner or host. I think he's the owner, but he's the host of Valuetainment and the PBD podcast channels. They're pretty big on the right. He does have on an array of usually right-wing guests, but he did have Sam Cedar on probably a year ago now. So he's I guess more willing than some on the right to talk. But he had Jesse Watters, Fox News host, on the show. And I assume this is the clip that's been going around. I could have looked up the context, but I didn't because that would have meant me watching the show with Jesse Watters, and I'd prefer just to take this clip already cut for me. But based on what this conversation goes, I'm assuming it seems pretty clear they're talking about, paying service industry workers like McDonald's employees a living wage. And I like I said, this clip's both enraging and hilarious. It's hilarious because Jesse Watters is a fucking dumbass. I mean, oh my God, when you hear what he says, you'll be like, what? This guy is stupid. But then also it's enraging because this is what they actually believe. And that drives their opinions on things such as paying workers a living wage. Let's play this clip first because we got to play it. And then we'll talk about it more. I just can't get over it. It's amazing, actually. It's a pretty amazing clip. Here, give me a second while I set it up. All right. It's on the screen there. Let me turn the clip volume up. Let me get myself picture in picture there. Boom, bada bing. All right. I'll put myself right in front of Jesse Waters' book, Get It Together. Troubling takes from the liberal fringe. I'll tell you, get it together, Jesse Waters, because we're about to hear a troubling take from the right-wing Fox News hosts. You got to hear this to believe it. It's incredible.
If you're making $20 an hour to work at a fast food restaurant, right? Is that six figures? Are you making?
No.
All right, we could just stop it right there because I can't believe it. I just can't. He's actually asking that. $20 an hour. Is it six figures? Is that six figures? And he said it as a rhetorical question first, right? This is very simple. You do $20 per hour times, and this is obviously, you're estimating here because they, as a service industry employee, you are booked. I know because I used to wash dishes back in the day. I was a dishwasher at a American chain restaurant. And I know you are booked. Scheduled, I should say, booked. I'm saying booked because I'm so used to being a host on a podcast now. You are scheduled, and it could be different every week. Some weeks you may work less than 40. Some weeks you may work more than 40. Maybe you have a specific deal where you will guarantee 40. It's different. But let's just say 40 times 20, 40 hours a week times $20 a week, that's $800 a week. Then times that by how many weeks there are in a year. And you get roughly between $41,000 and $42,000 per year. That's nowhere near six figures. And once you factor in, taxes and things like that, you're walking away with a lot less. You're walking away with like $30K, something around that area, something in that range. And let's not even think about the fact that, you probably might have to pay for your own insurance, probably. All right, let's start from the beginning because it's so incredible that he says that. He says it like a rhetorical question too.
If you're making $20 an hour to work at a fast food restaurant, right? Is that six figures? Are you making?
No.
40
grand.
50 is just two exits and add a few zeros.
Yeah. Okay, so
$40K a year.
Okay,
full time.
$40K a year.
Yeah.
So, and then if your husband or wife is also there, you're making $100,000 as a.
All right, let's now we gotta. Okay, all right. This was like after he said the first thing, I was laughing at this guy. But now we have the fucking cherry on top right here, honestly. I don't know why I'm doing the radio host, like the Morning Zoo host voice all of a sudden, but here we go. This is amazing. So he fucks up big time, assumes $20 per hour is at least $100K. He says six figures. Who knows how much he thought it is? For all we know, this guy could have thought you're making like $200K. But he says $20 an hour, 40 hours a week. That's got to be six figures, right? And he gets corrected very quickly by PBD, the host of this show, who says it's actually around 40K. So what does he do? What is his way to sort of, I guess, save face? Well, think about it this way. He doesn't even say that, actually. If he did say that, I would have given him... It wouldn't have given him any credit, but at least it would have been like a segue. No, he just goes, all right, well, assume both you and your husband or wife are both working at this same job. In what world? In what? First of all, we've already established that 20 times 40 a week is approximately 40K, give or take, a year. So if 40K, 40,000 times 2, that still doesn't equal six figures, by the way. We should make this clear. Like, he's still off. 80K is, again, not six figures. Is it closer than 40K? Sure it is. Would you say it's close to six figures? Would you round up to six figures if you were making 80K? No, that's not six figures. If you were making like 95, 96, I guess you could say, yeah, I'm making six figures or close to it. 80K you cannot, because you're not making six figures. So 40,000 times 40,000, 40,000 times 2, I should say, or 40,000 plus 40,000 is what I should be saying, does not equal six figures. It equals 80,000. But even with that math problem wrong, though, the idea that he just assumes that, oh, well, your husband or wife is working at the exact same job as you, right? Pulling in that same money. It's incredible. It's incredible. First of all, the odds of you being a husband and wife duo working at a McDonald's together as in the same position making $20 an hour, does it happen? I'm sure it happens. Is it like common enough where you would go to it as your reference to like the common working class family or service industry worker? No, it's definitely not that common. And then husband or wife, let's assume, if you're saying husband and wife, you also got to assume like they maybe have kids. If you got kids, you are definitely not both working at McDonald's together at the same job at the same time. I don't know how you could even schedule those shifts so that one of you is always home and you're both managing to work 40 hours per week. Is it possible? Maybe. Are you going to have a manager that's flexible? Probably not. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. This is ludicrous. So let's go back to the beginning, because we gotta I can't get over this clip.
If you're making $20 an hour to work at a fast food restaurant, right? Is that six figures? Are you making?
No.
40
grand.
50 grand.
50 is just 2x it and add a few zeros.
I just can't. Again, 40K is so far from six figures. It's like a life-changing amount. It's more than a whole nother salary of the same amount. Like, you could potentially live very comfortably in certain cities in this country if you're making 100K and you're living single, or even with a partner, no kids. At 40K, you're close to like I'm pretty sure, even as a single person, you're close to like affordable housing amount. You are you're not the poverty line, but you're making not much more.
Okay, so
40K a year.
Okay,
full time.
40K a year.
Yeah.
So, and then if your husband or wife is also there, you're making $100,000 as a family.
Sure.
Why does he say that? He just says that if it's a common thing. He just so nonchalantly brings that up. Like it's just a common thing for a couple to work together at the same job. Of course.
A year.
Yeah.
So, and then if your husband or wife is also there, you're making $100,000 as a family.
Sure.
Both working at McDonald's?
80 grand.
That is, okay, that's crazy. That is crazy.
2 whole salaries, 80 hours a week, making $80,000 is not crazy at all. In fact, that's sad. That's sad. That's 80 hours a week. It's not sad because it's split up between two people, each working 40 hours. But if you're actually a single person working 80 hours a week and making $80,000, that's sad. Actually, that's not fair to be working that many hours and getting so little in return. And he's saying that's too much. And he's saying that's too much.
At McDonald's?
80 grand.
That is okay. That's crazy. That is crazy because that job really doesn't require much. So it's inflating the entire.
What job doesn't require much? Making food for thousands of people every day does not require $40,000 a year? Literally feeding entire communities, entire neighborhoods. A single McDonald's in Midtown Manhattan has got to literally be the driver of productivity for countless offices in Manhattan, countless companies in Manhattan. Feeding workers is undeserving of bringing home $40,000 a year? This is incredible. How lowly they think of these McDonald's workers, these service industry workers. Cooking burgers, fries, chicken, making sandwiches. Taking orders, getting them correct. Because you're dealing with tens of people every minute. Every couple minutes. Hundreds of people. Every hour, potentially. It's insane to be talking about them like that. They're undeserving of $40,000 a year. That honestly sounds like the bare minimum now. Are you saying they should get $24,000 an hour? $24,000 a year? I don't even. You can't live on that anymore. What world are you living in?
$100,000 as a family.
Sure.
Both working at McDonald's.
80 grand.
That is okay. That's crazy. That is crazy because that job really doesn't require much. So it's inflating the entire, labor sector
And the Happy Meal.
and the Happy Meal,
Unhappy, very unhappy.
which I'm very unhappy about. But
I don't even know what to say to this. These guys are so stupid, first of all, to be wrong about the math to begin with. And then to assume, to try to make their point still, they double the amount and just assume a couple is working at McDonald's together. But they are so out of touch to say that about these workers, that they are undeserving of $40,000 a year. This doesn't sound like that much at all. It sounds like the bare minimum, honestly. And they should be making more. But $40K does sound a world away from $24K. I don't know how someone could live on $24K in the year 2024. $40K, it's tight, but a lot better than $24K. This isn't, I just can't get over this clip. So many layers here, honestly. And as Lemon Chicken Yo in the live chat points out, we're discussing fast food minimum wage in California. That's where they get $20 an hour now. I don't know what your, I guess it depends where in California you live. But like, you living in LA, San Francisco, you ain't getting by on $40K a year. I mean, just Christ almighty, man. Just, I don't even know what to say to this one anymore. I mean, I had a lot to say about it, actually. I had plenty to say. I don't know what to say about it anymore, is what I should say. I've given them all the business I wish to give. Listen, being a food service industry worker is fucking hard work. It is hard work. It's not just monotonous, because that's what they mean by easy, right? That it's the same thing over and over again. That's what they mean by easy. But it's not. It's not. Anything could change how the day goes. Higher than usual foot traffic during certain hours where you're already busy enough as it is. Just one large order coming in for like a company or a school or something like that. Specific customized orders. Not having enough workers on staff at certain times. It's a problem these food industry workers deal with a lot, actually. And to no fault of their own. They're not the ones staffing and scheduling. They got to pick up the work for other people. Do more than one job, usually. They got to deal with the biggest wild card there is, human beings. If a customer's going to come in and just fucking enraged about some stupid small mistake that they could just not make a big deal about and just get it fixed, but instead want to make a whole fight over it. Get food sent back, get complaints. Deal with violent customers who look at you like Jesse Waters looks at you. Equipment breaking down, like O'Reilly points out in the chat. It really isn't just like this monotonous, thoughtless work that they think it is. It really is not. And you know what? If you've actually worked at a fast food job or a food service industry job, you'll truly understand that there are people who are actually really talented at it. It is a job that requires skill. To be able to cook food quickly, efficiently, while following all the food safety guidelines and also making it good, that's not easy. I've seen people who can fucking do that shit fast and good. Whip out during busy hours, whip out burgers and flip, get that shit out there 1, 2, 3 like you've never seen. I couldn't do that shit. And then I would even dishwashing. I saw there was guys I was with who were friggin' like the Flash during the busiest hours, and I'm like, well, I couldn't keep up. It is a skill to be good at that job. You ever see a server come out to a big table, huge family sitting at it, carrying like 15 plates at a time? That's a skill. Um. All right, let's talk about this now. And then we will start taking calls. How did I already do 30 minutes of a show? How does this happen? Incredible. How does this happen? All right, hold on. Where is the story I had pulled up for this? All right, so I'm not gonna get too deep into into this story right here, because I want to have someone on to talk about it in full, like a full episode. But I did want to talk about it from a very specific angle, because people are thinking about elections and things like that, and I think it's important as people like Donald Trump come out and try to distance themselves from this. I do think it's important that we don't let them. We don't let them, because they did this. Like, this is incredible that they are trying to distance themselves from this when they are simultaneously spiking the football over it. I mean, because they know it's bad politics for an election year. So earlier this week, on Tuesday, April 9th, the Arizona Supreme Court ruled to let a law banning really 99% of abortions, I want to repeat this, like 99% of abortions go into effect. Now, there is no carve out for abortion for women who are raped. The only carve out is an exception for when the life of the mother is at risk. And you might be wondering, what law is this? Well, it's a literal law from 1864. This is an 1864 abortion ban that the Supreme Court of Arizona has ruled is now the law of the land in Arizona. Previously, after Roe v. Wade was struck down by Trump's Supreme Court, abortions were legal in Arizona for until up to 15 weeks. But now that the Supreme Court ruled that the 160-year-old abortion ban law, the 1864 law, is actually the enforceable law now, that's no longer going to be the case. There is a single carve-out for abortions when the life of the mother is at risk. And, my assumption is that even though that carve-out is there, it's not going to really matter much, because there's going to be a number of doctors who are going to be worried that they will not, they can be held accountable for something that's not as clear as politicians or judges would like it to be. So they won't perform abortions on women whose health could be at risk until, of course, their health really is at risk and it might be too late. And women will likely die even though they would have been eligible for that carve-out. like I said, I'm going to have experts on this show as we go for the rest of the year, as this continues to happen. I'm going to have them on to talk about this more in depth, but I'm talking about this now to point out this. I mean, this is the bread and butter doom, going after the right-wing media, covering all these far right-wingers. And this is what and I should add actually that the House, the Arizona House, they the Republicans in the House in Arizona, they blocked an attempt to repeal the 1864 law. So Republicans in Arizona, state House members in Arizona, Republicans, saved this law like they want it. But listen to how national level, U.S. House members, U.S. Senate members, candidates, presidential candidates as well, how they're talking about this. We got Kari Lake saying, "I oppose today's ruling." That's interesting. Because Kari Lake, when she was running for governor in 2022, she literally cited the law and said this: "I'm incredibly thrilled we're going to have a great law that's already in the books. I believe it's ARS 13-3603. By the way, that's the 1864 law, exactly. And now she's coming out and denouncing it. Now, why is she doing that? Well, because her man, probably. I mean, she's also running for Senate in Arizona, so she doesn't want to lose that election because, again, but her boy, let me pull this clip. No, she doesn't want to lose her election, so she's gonna probably lose her election. This is gonna be a real loser for Republicans in Arizona. Good, I say. But here's Donald Trump when asked about this law.
Did Arizona go too far? Yeah, they did, and that'll be straightened out. And
let me put the volume louder. So the reporter asks, "Did Arizona go too far?"
Did Arizona go too far? Yeah, they did, and that'll be straightened out. And as you know, it's all about states' rights. That'll be straightened out. And I'm sure that the governor and everybody else are going to bring it back into reason, and that will be taken care of, I think, very quickly. What do you think about Florida?
I just want to point out, he says, "Yeah, I did. I do think it went too far. I'm all about states' rights, and it'll be fixed very shortly. The governor will rein in." Who's the fucking governor? A Democrat. The governor who beat Kari Lake. Donald Trump basically saying, "Yeah, that thing that happened because of what I did to the Supreme Court, and then, of course, the years, the decades of the Republican Party working to make this happen by repealing Roe v. Wade, and the thing that I called for and made happen, that thing that I'm responsible for, it'll be fixed by the Democratic governor in Arizona. It'll be straightened out." Like, we really need... These guys are trying to run away from this. They're trying to pretend this is not what they want. You're seeing it on Twitter already. All these major organizations, Republican. Oh, there was a great one I saw. Hold on, let me find it. This was too good. Too good. Where is this? Hold on. Give me 1 second. Just remembered it now. Hold on. Here it is. This is the head of RNC Research. And a GOP Rapid Response Director, Jake Schneider. And he's quote tweeting here a Joe Biden account that put together a video that says statement from Donald Trump on Arizona's 1864 abortion ban. And it's a clip where Donald Trump is talking about the repeal of Roe v. Wade. And it says, Trump says, I was proudly the person responsible. And the Biden account says, statement from Donald Trump on Arizona's near total abortion ban. And so Jacob Schneider of the RNC, of the GOP, quote tweets it and says, this is absurd and actual misinformation. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's absolutely not. If you do something like repeal a national law in order for things to happen in a state, and then a state goes ahead and does that thing, you are fucking responsible. Are you kidding me? Donald Trump is 100% responsible for any and all state that bans abortions. 110%. And you can't fucking run away from this. Because it is exactly what you guys wanted. You were all just upset at the blowback you're receiving. You did not realize or did not care until the cows came home what an unpopular decision it is to ban abortion in this country and try to control women's bodies. It is a losing position. And the GOP has lost race after race in otherwise winnable areas because of this decision. The GOP, from Donald Trump down to the Republicans in the U.S. Senate and House, down to the Republicans in state houses across the country, down to Republican candidates, perennial losers like Kari Lake, who campaigned on these issues, it is 100% on them. This is what they wanted. They got it. They were proud of it. And now that it's blowing up in their face, they're upset when you point out this is what they wanted, and they are proud of it. But it is the truth. Just incredible. Just incredible, really. Like, it's ludicrous. This is exactly what these guys wanted. I've heard it. I've heard it for years. Decades I've been doing this. Well, not decades, but over a decade I've been doing this. How long has it been now? I mean, I've been into politics for decades, but professionally covering it as my career, it's been since, last week was my, what was it? 13 years. 14 years since working in, in news and politics. And then 13 years since, since working at the Majority Report. Christ almighty. Started working at the Majority Report 13 years ago. 13 years last week. I mean, this is exactly what these guys wanted. All right, guys. Let's go to the second half of the show, where I'll take your phone calls. I actually had a few Twitter things to bring up, but I feel like I've been doing so many Twitter episodes lately. We'll save the Twitter episode for next week. That way we have a little bit of space in between them, right? Sounds about right, right? So, yeah, let's do this. To support this show, before we go to the second half, though, to support this show, please go to patreon.com/MattBinder. Honestly, your support makes this show possible. I cannot do it without my patrons. I know times are tough, and you might not be able to afford to do so. And if you can't, that's totally fine. But if you can afford to do so, and you enjoy this show, then consider supporting it. Patreon.com/MattBinder. If you are on YouTube, you could go to, wait, what am I talking about? What is this? All right, well, if you are on YouTube, youtube.com/MattBinder, you could drop a super chat in the live chat, and I'll read your super chats in the second half of the show. If you can also become a member there, if you prefer to do it through YouTube. I get a bigger percentage from Patreon, but it's I mean, it's no big deal if you want to do it through YouTube, if that's what you prefer. Also, twitch.tv/MattBinder. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and you get a free Twitch Prime subscription every month. If you don't use it, it goes to waste. So be sure to give you that Twitch Prime subscription to your favorite creator. It costs you nothing more than what you're already paying Amazon for Prime. And what else? Doomedcast.com for the podcast version of the show. Like I said, I'm still catching up on the episodes on there. I've been late putting them up. I was trying something out with the scheduling of the podcast to see, how it would work out. I will now be catching up there, so I'll be uploading a few episodes at a time probably. You could also, what else? Oh yeah, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out Scam Economy, scameconomy.com. Let me thank my patrons. I want to actually name drop people who recently became patrons. All right, here we go. Let's do this. Brian B, Peace Seeker, Dan, and Cy A. Thank you so much for becoming patrons. I really appreciate the support. Again, can't do without my patrons. Patreon.com/MattBinder. You can call into the show. Search Doomed Live on Skype, and I will pick up your calls as they come in. Search Doomed Live and just call in on Skype. If you are watching the live stream or you are a Patreon subscriber, don't go anywhere. This is just the second half of the show will be right here on this stream. But if you are a freebie podcast listener, this is where I say to you, I will see you all next time on Doomed. Today on Doomed.
Ecological collapse, corporate fascism, corporate journalism, police brutality, voter suppression, austerity economics, educate the masses, rampant homophobia, arms strength.
We got our first caller.
What's up, Matt?
Hey,
You from Jamaica?
Dave from Jamaica. How are you doing, my friend? What are we going to talk about today?
I don't think you are exactly what you claim you are. I would say you're a conservative. What makes you a liberal? I'm pro-Green New Deal. Are you? Yes, really? Absolutely. Really? I have watched the show. I've seen you completely come out and get really mad at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for some of the things in the Green New Deal.
You mean like free college for black people?
All right, we are back. I don't know why Skype took so long to open up there. It's still opening up. Why is Skype taking so long to open up right now? That was ridiculous, how long it took Skype just to open up right now. I might have to find a backup if Skype's going to have issues like that. Christ. All right, let's go to the phones. Oh, I forgot to bring myself up on the screen. Look at that. Hey, what's your name? Oh, wait, hold on. What's your name? Where you, I can't hear you. Hold on. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What's up?
It's Hansi.
It is. No, I'm just joking. How you doing, Hansi? Hold on, let me give you. You're hearing me on the wrong mic. Let me fix that. I should be much clearer for you as well. How you doing, Hansi? Let me put you up on the screen.
You put it on the screen.
All right,
Am I on
cool.
the
What's
screen?
up? Yep, you're on the screen. What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Did you watch WrestleMania or no?
I did.
What did you think?
I'm glad you're calling in because I actually really want to have a wrestling talk, even though I know people don't want to hear us have a wrestling talk. But you guys have to understand, it is the first show after WrestleMania, and then something just happened on AEW just minutes before I went on the live stream. So we're gonna talk a little bit of wrestling here, okay? I'm sorry.
Listen,
you know what? Hansi, would you mind actually if I take one or two more calls and then I'll take your call just so we can get some other stuff in and then we could save the wrestling talk for the end and we'll talk for a while?
How's this gonna work? Because now I'm gonna keep repeating call. So when should I actually call in then?
Let me take two calls, and then you could call in, okay? And I'll take your call.
Okay, dude, don't hold me. Listen, hey, I'm willing to do this, but just don't fuck me over, please. Just don't fuck me over.
I hold hand up to. Well, I mean, I don't believe, but hand up to God. I will take your call 100%. Let me just
All right,
give
fine.
people the show they call in for, and then we could really talk for a while about it, because I want to talk for a while about it. I want to talk with you about wrestling, okay? So just let me
All
take a
right.
few other calls. Give me like
No.
2 calls, and then I'll take your call, okay?
All right.
All right, here we go. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Nick from Arizona.
Hey, Nick from Arizona. Could I pull your stream up on the feed?
Sure. Sorry for your for the fans of my ugly mug. So,
No, it looks fine to me. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. With everything going on in the world.
Right, you said you're from Arizona, so I'm assuming you
Yeah.
wanted to call in to talk about that, or you can talk about anything,
Um,
but
I mean, geez, there's a lot because, like, my I'm not Arab, Palestinian, but my spouse is, and her entire family. So it's like I could talk about that. I could talk about my 2-year-old daughter now losing rights to her family or to her own body.
right,
But I think for me right now, I'm just going to talk about like what Jesse Waters says and just the, crap that he doesn't even understand.
right. I have a
And
feeling a number of people are going to call in about this, and I'm here for it because I still can't get over it, really.
yeah, it's so frustrating because I worked in the food service business for like almost 10 years before I was just like, I've had enough. I can't do this anymore. Um, so like him just talking about like, oh, they don't deserve that. And it's like, when I started working, uh, I was making 765 as a server. And then when I became a dishwasher or a kitchen helper, it jumped up to $8. It's like, oh, and at that job in particular, I was there for 7 years and I never went up above $10 an hour. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
frustrating because
it is a rough, thankless job, and I gotta say, I'm always very, and I'm not saying this to like pat myself on the back. I'm saying this in hopes of like other people also do this. It takes no work at all to just like treat a service employee like they are also human beings working a job, and they could be having a good day, they could be having a bad day. So, I do my best to make things as simple as possible. And I always just thank them for, not over the top. They just, they hand me my order. I was like, oh, thanks for everything. Have a nice day.
yeah.
It's sometimes they're legitimately shocked just to hear that.
Oh
And
yeah,
like the
no,
response is just like, oh,
embodiment.
you too. Like, oh, thank you. You too. It's like, wow, like it's not that big of a deal. Like just treat people like human beings who are also going through the same daily good times and daily bad times that you could be going through.
Mhm.
And just that simple. Make things as easy for people as possible.
Yeah, and like the thing like people don't understand like because I worked in like old folks homes and retirement homes and like the things you have to stay on top of like not only so like at my place that I worked at, I would be working breakfast and lunchtime. So we're having to make sure all that's taken care of. And, for that job I worked, I was basically whatever you needed, I was the one there. I was there opening. Uh, but so you're just like not only are you cooking, you're cleaning, you're dishwashing, but you're having to keep like things labeled because like at any moment a health inspector could come in or a different inspector. Like if you're in a nursing home, like they have every 3 months they have inspections, and so you have to keep on track of like labeling, make sure you're organizing things correctly. You can have shipments coming in that you're having to deal with on top of everything else you're doing. And, a lot of the times we're always short staffed. So, it's hectic.
I mean, it's been a long time since I've done it. So, and I remember how hectic it was when I was doing it. So I can only imagine how it is now where, honestly, it seems like people are, I don't know, more hurried about it and sort of angrier about their food. Like it's very weird. I don't get why people Like some people just shouldn't be eating at restaurants or ordering out. Honestly, they just don't deserve
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I see. I'm lucky because like the jobs that I've had in food service, I'm dealing with old people, and for the most part, they're nice, and it's people that for my first job, I was there for 7 years. I got close to a lot of them. So it's like you understood they had bad days. You understand if you had bad days as well and stuff like that. But oh no, I
But
understand that.
you shouldn't even need to like work one of these jobs to understand that. Like even if you have
Mhm.
a nice posh job indoors as you have your own office, you're in a huge building, you should still understand that like people wake up and have issues in their life, personal issues. They have good
Mhm.
days, they have bad days. You don't know what's going on in someone's life. You could be struggling through those things while you're working in an air-conditioned, personal, huge office. So like
Yeah.
you should just like know that like when you go down to with service workers, just I'm not even saying that to treat them special. Just treat
Yeah.
them like human
Just treat them
beings.
like a human being, dignity. It's the
Like
same
listen,
thing like
if
what you
someone
do
gets
with homeless people.
if someone gets my order wrong, I'm not just like, oh, I'll just take it. Because no, I'll be like, hey, I'm sorry to do this, but
Mhm.
I didn't want cheese on this burger. Would you mind just remaking it? Like just saying it like a normal human being talking to another
Yeah.
normal human being. Like I'm not asking
No, yeah, I
anyone to
know
like
exactly what
just
you mean.
yeah
Yeah, yeah, because it's that like yeah, because it's like, oh, I don't need praise. It's just, yeah, treat me like a human being. And it's just like it kind of like I work as a security guard now, and I deal with a lot of homeless people. And the way like you see other guards talk about homeless people and they treat them, it's just like, my God, this is like it's awful. It's like, you're speaking to a human being, you're speaking to a person that's suffering, that needs help, and it's like,
right
at least you can be, you know, just show some empathy.
right. I mean the fact of the matter is these guys like Jesse Waters, they just don't view these workers as human beings. Like,
Hmm.
yes, like they view them as human beings in the literal sense but they don't view them as equals. They don't view their
Oh
life
yeah,
as equal.
exactly. I mean,
Like
yeah, you can
they are
see in
they
his
are somehow
video,
below because they're working at McDonald's, and
yeah,
that
and it's like,
they
oh,
don't deserve
40,000.
they don't deserve the bare minimum. Like they literally think that like it's not like they're like they're out of touch first of all, but they're not out of touch in the way that like oh maybe they don't know. No, they know that.
Hmm.
They're out of touch in terms of how many people and what type of people live this way.
Yeah.
But they're out of touch in terms of like that way. But they know that these people who work at these type of jobs, they can't live on it. And they
Hmm.
want it that way though. They think that's good. They think
Yeah,
that's how it's supposed to be.
they think it's like, oh, this is just your step. You do this for a little bit, and then you go into college, and then you move up into a career. It's like it's not like that anymore. Like it's like something I try to explain to my grandparents. It's like, this like America's like a service economy job, or like that's the marketplace for America.
Right. I
So
mean, it's
yeah,
just I hate I try like in the same sense I try not to order I try to not like I don't really have a problem in general with people who do this. I know this was a whole thing online with DoorDash and stuff. I mean, you do it,
mm,
you do it. For me personally, I do not like taking part in the gig economy. I know I'm sort of segueing away. This isn't exactly, but it is part of the whole fast food delivery. But
yeah,
I try to take part in the gig economy because I just don't like it. I don't like how it treats workers. I think it's even worse than like the fast food industry and the service industry in terms of like how the companies view their workers because they don't even
yeah.
view them as they don't even view them as their workers.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're
Um,
just doing this for a couple bucks. It's like, yeah, you see it in the marketing. It's insane. And
I,
then
I
like,
I hate how it is. I try to order directly from restaurants when possible.
mhm,
But 9 out of 10 times I am actually physically going to the place to get the food to pick up myself. Again, I understand there's people who have to order DoorDash, people with disabilities. I'm talking about my personal choice
mhm,
as someone who can do that. Um,
yeah,
I try not to take part in the gig economy because I don't like how Uber works. I don't like, but it's funny enough, actually, Uber probably, I think from last I saw, Uber actually probably treats this doesn't mean they treat their workers good. Don't mistake what I'm saying, but they
don't
treat
worry.
them better than the other ones, like DoorDash and Postmates. I hate
Yeah.
those two more than even Uber. I think I've seen how much they pay how much those workers get paid, how they're looked at. I think they view them so. I think it's just terrible businesses. Honestly, I don't.
Oh
like
yeah,
it.
no, trust. Dude, I completely understand. Like with me, with like, I don't like. First off, I don't do DoorDash or any of that because one, it's too expensive. You know, um, I can't afford a burger that's going to cost me $40 to get it delivered,
Yeah.
and the
Oh
worker
yeah.
barely
I
going
don't
to get
right.
any of that. And it's
It's
like for him to get
cheaper.
anything, I gotta tip him, and that's
First
not
of all,
right.
like if a restaurant doesn't have their own delivery, I just don't get delivery from them. That's how it always worked, and it's not really that big of a deal because actually most places that you want to order takeout from provide that service. Like if you're
Yeah.
ordering from a place that doesn't do takeout, their own takeout, you probably don't want to eat their food as takeout because they probably don't package it that way. That's not where their experience is. They don't package it like that. I remember watching, I think it was John Oliver recently did an episode, and they were talking, he played a clip of a restaurant talking to a local news outlet, and they were pissed because they're a restaurant. They weren't a fancy restaurant or anything, but just like an eat-in restaurant, like a diner, like a specialty diner. And they did not provide takeout delivery. One of these companies like DoorDash put them on their website, on their platform without their permission,
Mm-hmm.
and allowed people to order from their restaurant, and they would just send a DoorDash person over to pick up the order as if it's just like the person whose food it is.
Yeah.
And the woman who owned the restaurant said, listen, like one of our big things is we make like milkshakes, and we package the milkshake without a lid, with the whipped cream like coming out of the container, because we assume, because of
gonna
how
stay
we
within
run
the
our
building.
business, the person we are handing it to is the person consuming the milkshake we make. But now we find out after the fact that we are giving this no lid milkshake to a guy who's taking it into his car, doing who knows what in his car, coughing all over it,
Oh yeah.
smoking whatever all over it, and then he's
Yeah.
bringing it to you. Who knows how long and far away that is? And they were really pissed because it puts their at the end of the day, their customers, the person consuming the food, it puts them in harm's way. Right. And it
their
makes the
business
restaurant
can
look
get shut
bad.
down.
And it makes the restaurant look bad because if the end user, the person actually eating the food, doesn't like how the food tastes or how fresh it is based on the delivery, they blame the restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the health code violations on that alone, it's insane. And it's like I can understand the restaurant owner just being furious because it's like this is something we're not even providing, and we will be the ones getting screwed over if like let's say a health inspector finds out about this. And so I can understand that, but yeah, and then who knows, I know milk can't be out for long, oh my gosh, just thinking of having someone handling my food without anything to cover it or protect it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I personally would be so fucking pissed if I ran a restaurant and one of these companies pulled that shit with my restaurant. The audacity to make money off of someone else's business in that way without their permission, without some sort of partnership, is unbelievable. And I would fucking shut that shit down ASAP in any and all ways possible. I would go out of my way to make sure that if I saw a DoorDash or an Uber Eats person come in to pick up the food and I wasn't providing that service, I would make sure they could not take the food. And then Uber Eats or DoorDash can deal with the upset customer who's not getting it.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to stuff like that, it's just it's like that. It kind of reminds me of those ghost kitchens It reminds me like a bit of that. I don't know if you've ever heard of those, where it's like just like random, like it's like you would go on those websites of like Uber Eats and stuff like that, and it would show like the menus.
Right, I know what you're talking about. There's. I feel like ghost kitchens cover a broad swath of things. Like I think there's people who just like, fucking like, go and take food from other restaurants and claim it's their kitchen. I think if you want to start a restaurant or a food service place that just caters to the delivery services and not have an actual front-facing restaurant, I think that's fine. But you still need to let the state know so you can still follow all the food and like the food regulations and stuff. Like if you want to, if you can't afford a sit down restaurant space and you just like rent out this little kitchen or whatever, as long as you are still upholding to all the regulations and there's food inspectors checking on you, I personally think that's fine. But I know that's not all
like food
ghost
trucks,
kitchens.
Food carts, like because
Right, like
they
like they
have to go
do,
with the
yeah,
same
yeah.
standard, that any kitchen has, and they can be even more stringent on things like that because you like, especially if you're having like a food truck or a little like convenience cart, you have to have refrigerating for your food. Things have to be labeled. They have to things have to be proper. Because if not, then they'll take your stuff. They'll take your vehicle, they'll take your cart, and they're shit out of luck. So yeah, like that would just thinking of like some random Uber Eats guy coming in, just grabbing the food, and then putting the business at risk for no reason.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Nope, that's pretty much it. I
cool.
actually got a text about the Supreme Court's decision. I got some stuff I got to fill out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like
Petitions.
petitions. Nice.
Yeah.
If it's not just for the state, your state, like if it's for anybody, feel free to send it my way and I'll promote it too. I'll get it out there.
All right. Do you want me to send it through your Skype thing?
Oh yeah, you can send it right there. Absolutely. Yeah, you're right there. Might as well. Makes it easier for you. All right. Thanks for calling in. Great call. Was this your first time calling? You feel like
first time.
Great. That's awesome. Please call in again. It was a great call.
I'll next time I do, I'll probably talk about Palestine, but I don't want to be a Debbie Downer right now for that. I know how, like, I know tomorrow with you on the Majority Report, I can only imagine what's going to be brought up again. Every day it's worse and worse.
Right. Yes. I mean, I honestly try to take like any day where like something absolutely, like at this point, like something absolutely over the top doesn't happen. I count that as like just a blessing, honestly, that like it's not a day where like there's been another mass killing or an airstrike that killed countless, who knows how many. Like obviously I'm pretty sure there are people dying every day, but like there are,
it's not another.
There are days where it's much worse than others. So I count those as like just a day where I hope most people over there are able to just like focus on just like surviving instead of having to also worry about something dropping on their head. Yeah.
Or going to a food truck that's dropping off and then getting open fired on.
Right.
So yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Phone slip. But all right, I'll let you go. It was good talking with you. I'll definitely call back again. Thankfully, my kids behaved for me, so.
Oh, I know how it is. I can't do this show until my kids go to sleep. That's why I do my stream so late. People are always like, why don't you do it earlier? I'd be able to listen. Well, I don't do it earlier because my kids are awake.
Oh, for me, it's early, 6:30. So right now, it's going to be bedtime for them.
Right.
Yeah, I'm 3 hours behind.
Right. All right. Well, I hear Arizona is nice anyway, though.
A lot of crystal mommies and a lot of Mormons.
You know what? I was shocked to hear, actually. I did not know this till very recently. That it's Phoenix, right? Phoenix, Arizona is one of the biggest cities in the U.S. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I don't know the exact population, but the way Phoenix, because Phoenix is the state capital, but it's also broken into like sub-cities. So you have Phoenix, then you have Glendale, then you have Gilbert, Chandler, Tempe, Scottsdale, Mesa, but that's all considered Phoenix as well.
Okay. Because I remember like this was I was talking with someone in my family maybe a couple months ago, because they recently came back from, I think they were in the area for work or something, and they were shocked to hear it was like, yeah, I have the list in front of me. I think people don't realize this. New York is the largest city in the U.S. We're talking about population, by the way.
Yeah.
Second is Los Angeles. Again, New York, California. It's not a big deal. Chicago is third. Again, that's not a... Houston is fourth. Again, not a big surprise. Fifth is Phoenix. I would have never assumed that at all. Like, yeah, it's a big city in Arizona, but I didn't know it was like the fifth largest in the whole country.
Yeah, because like I don't originally live here. I lived in Yuma, and so I had a population of 100,000, and then coming up to Phoenix, moving just a few years ago, right when my son was born, it's like, oh, it's like a culture shock and everything.
Right. I mean, I'm looking. People are saying in the chat, yeah, that's because it's so big. Like, yeah, it's big, but it's actually smaller than Houston, and it's just right behind Houston. It's about the same size as San Antonio, and it's two places above San Antonio. It's New York, LA, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, then Philly, San Antonio, San Diego, Dallas, and Austin. Those are your top 10 American cities by population.
Yeah, no, it like Arizona, I will say it's beautiful, but the politics is garbage.
I mean, you guys went blue in 2020, and it looks like
I'm happy for that.
I'll be honest, it looks like it's going to happen again in 2024. Honestly,
inshallah, hopefully it will stay that way. You know, that's what we're all hoping for.
I mean, as someone who called an almost perfect map 4 years ago, I called every state, even the ones that split their electoral votes. I called every state perfectly except Georgia. Ugh, what a mistake I made.
I thought you would have been more like Tim Pool and been like a 50-state win for Donald Trump or something like that.
But I called Arizona in 2020, and I gotta say, I'm feeling Arizona in 2024. In fact, I think Arizona might be more plausible than Michigan.
Yeah. No, that with Arizona, it is nice it is slowly turning blue, which is nice, but we still got a little ways to go.
All right. Well, hopefully it continues trending that way. You're right smack dab in between New Mexico and Nevada. So I mean, and those are pretty much New Mexico is a sure thing blue state, and Nevada pretty much, I don't think you could even really call it a swing state anymore. It's pretty blue now. I mean, it seems like as long as those states, along with California and maybe Colorado too, maybe they're seeping in a little bit. Arizona might become a sure thing in the not so distant future.
Yeah, for sure. Because honestly, I think it's mainly because of Phoenix and it's just large population that helps to that.
I mean, the same thing about Nevada though. Like it's all Vegas. I mean, if there wasn't Vegas, Nevada would be the reddest state on the map, maybe.
Yeah, because with here, man, once you get out of Phoenix and you're let's say you're heading to Yuma, or it's just farmlands, and you know exactly who they're voting for and where they're getting their subsidies for the farms and everything.
Right. And I was, just to be clear to everyone in Nevada, I was joking about the reddest state. I was making the point that one really big city in a state that really doesn't have much else really calls the election for the entire state.
It's okay. I was going to talk smack about New Mexico. What are they known for? Aliens? And then that's about it.
That's right. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, last week we were bringing, I don't know if it was on Leftist Mafia or this show. I can't remember. I think it was Leftist Mafia, but at least New Mexico is known for that. At least Phoenix, at least Arizona is known for some things. At least Nevada is known for a number, obviously Vegas and gambling and all that stuff. I mean, I'm not saying it's good things all around, but it's known for those things. People go there for those things. Montana. the only state I can think of that's known for nothing.
Yeah, no, it's known for being really cold and like a safe haven for rich people.
But
That's
that, you
about
can't even
it.
say that because Arizona. I mean, not Arizona. Really cold. You think Alaska snow? It's not like it's the
Mhm.
coldest place. And then
Yeah.
safe haven for rich people. I mean, like physical safe haven. Like if some shit goes down, I guess. But in terms of like business tax haven stuff, nah, they go to like
Mhm.
Delaware and shit like that, or
Yeah,
or
and
Texas
the only
now.
reason I
Actually,
say that is because I have family that works up in Montana. They do construction, and like they've been working on places that like only rich people are going like can afford to go to, and they obviously are like, oh my God, it's May and it's still snowing.
right? Yeah. All right,
So
man.
that's
This was a great call. We ran the gamut here. Some fun things, some
yeah.
not so fun things, but all in all, please call in again. This was great.
Thank you. And then obviously I'm looking forward to seeing Hansi's take on the WWE soon.
Oh yeah, well, one more call, Hansi. One more call, and then you call in, okay?
All right,
I
I'll
just,
let you go.
people. I really need to do a wrestling show so I can talk about wrestling for a full 3 fucking hours, like I do with news and politics for 3 hours. But I just,
Yeah.
if I had the time, I would. But I don't know.
Yeah, I
Maybe I'll try to
understand
make
that.
some time.
It's like I don't watch WWE, but seeing you and Hansi talk about it, or when you did the news about the rape allegations for
Vince, yeah.
Vince, yeah, like that was all. It's interesting things because it's just stuff that I don't consume, but I see what you guys are talking about, and it's like okay, I see that, I see that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's even if you don't really pay attention to the storylines or watch the shows, the behind the scenes business aspects of the pro wrestling industry is actually honestly the greatest show on earth. It is.
Mhm.
You get more drama there than you'll get in your daytime soap operas because
Yeah.
it's like I always talk about this. It's the last of like the carny industry. Like that
Mhm.
old Americana, like traveling entertainment, like the circuses, the freak shows, the strongmen competitions, the all those travel, the puppet shows, that stuff that was like big in like the late 1800s, early 1900s. That was like what live entertainment was. Pro wrestling's the only thing that's maintained. Yeah, circuses are still a thing, but they're very niche and for children now.
Yeah.
Pro wrestling is the only big business that still exists from that whole weird little industry.
Mhm. Yeah, and like, because I have I had a friend tell me about the Rock's lineage, and it's like, geez, that's insane, and it just being a whole big thing.
Right. Well, all right. Let me let you go and stick around for the wrestling call with Hansi.
Oh, I will. Don't worry.
Have a great night.
You as well.
All right. Let me take one more call, Hansi, and then I'll grab your call. Right. Oh my God. So many people trying to call in. And now I lost everybody. Oh, here we go. One's coming in. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, bud, it's Charlie from Washington. How you doing?
Hey, Charlie from Washington. How you doing? Oh, it's a West Coast day, I guess. We got Arizona. We got Washington. I just saw you went up on the stream here. Let me pull your video up. Is Arizona really on the West Coast though? No, it's on the west side though.
It's part of the Wild West, yeah.
I mean, is there, if you draw a straight line from the easternmost part of Washington State all the way down, does it hit the westernmost part of Arizona? Let me look at a map.
Maybe Oregon, because Oregon's right below us. What's the verdict say?
It looks like it does. Oregon. It looks like if you draw a straight line down from that part of Oregon, that sort of is, it looks like it's penetrating Idaho a little bit. You do. It looks like there is. You'll hit Arizona a straight line down. So you know what, Arizona, West Coast to me.
See, now if you want to question Idaho's West creds, they got a Nazi problem. So you have at them. They're their own thing.
Wait, Armin
Uh,
Williams in the live chat says Arizona doesn't change their clocks. We don't do daylight savings time. What?
Yeah, and I'm hoping our state stops that nonsense too. Give me my hour back and leave it the fuck alone.
I mean, I forget which one I like. I like the one where we get maximum daytime, obviously.
I like going back. I like going. Every time they take that hour away from me, I die a little inside. And this is what it feels like. Is that I don't know where it started for me personally, but like I want the hour back. I don't want to. Every time we set the hours forward up here, I'm dead for like a week and a half, 2 good weeks of just like I just can't adjust that quickly. It's horrible.
Yeah.
You know, knock it off, guys. Give me my hour back. Still enough time as it is.
I hear you. So what did you want to talk about?
I wanted to talk about, or at least bring up a couple of trans news items that I thought were interesting. Maybe leave a quick comment on Jesse Waters. I gotta say, like, because I've worked in food for way too long, like 10 years ish, and I've trained a lot of food workers, and I've trained a lot of food workers with the attitude that Jesse Water has. And I gotta say, having trained so many of those assholes,
Wait, for people working in the industry have that attitude? People working in
newcomers in, like I would be the person doing all the training for the new people.
Oh, okay.
We've had, like, older people who remember like 30 years ago when they worked at a restaurant in 16 and it was all nice and friendly and they didn't have to care and anything and they thought it was an easy job and they'd come. And I've had one person like that make it 3 weeks. One. Everybody else rage quit within a week. And I've trained hundreds of those people.
What do they say? Like, what's their
They don't treat it like it's a serious job. You know, you see Jesse Waters up there, they don't deserve that. That's not real work. This is skillless work. I got this. How hard is your job? I can do this. Man, I could rant longer than Hansi on wrestling about like how much I hate the food industry. Like I really could.
No,
but,
I hear you.
If I was CEO and I was standing behind him in line at a restaurant and I saw him talking to
You saw who? I'm sorry, you cut out for a second.
that, I'd fire him.
Say that again. I'm sorry, you cut out, so I wasn't sure who you were talking about.
I'm sorry. Let me move the phone closer here. I was saying if I was a CEO and he was my employee and I was standing behind him when he was like bitching about food workers or like treating the food staff making his food up front like shit, I'd fire his ass.
Oh yeah.
If you're showing me right there what kind of a worker you are, you don't take this seriously. How am I going to trust you to take your current job seriously, bud? Fuck right off with that shit. If you don't want to raise the minimum wage, drop the cost of living down to a quarter of what it is. Like, I make $21 an hour, okay? I get about $2,100, $2,200 a month. I can't find even a shitty fucking studio apartment for less than $2,000. In order to live within my means anywhere on this side of the state, even out in fucking shitty ass Tacoma, you know, I would need to make $3,000.
Right.
Because of shitheads like, well, PBD. But yeah, I didn't want to bitch about that.
I actually don't know too much about PBD. All I know is that he has a lot of these guys on. But I know Jesse Waters.
He's one of those entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I mean, I think Valuetainment is one of the worst possible names I've ever heard for
it's
a show.
Sums up a slime ball suit. Valuetainment. God damn.
It honestly really reminds me of like one of those like 90s like cutout coupon packages you would receive on your doorstep.
Yeah.
It sounds like, oh, did you get the latest Valuetainment coupon bundle?
Yeah, some like small team of people who don't know anything about anything. They're like, how do we market this? Because I don't know, Valuetainment. Yeah, that sounds good. And then they get $100,000.
Right. It sounds like the business name for a large corporation that owns a bunch of like entertainment properties. It
It's
doesn't
that-
sound like the consumer facing brand. You know what I mean? Like you'll like come across like an establishment that's like, I don't know, like I can't give you any. Let's just say like Chuck E. Cheese. And it's like that's the name of the establishment, but then like you look it up and like the business that owns Chuck E. Cheese, the brand is like Valuetainment or something like
It
that. You know what I mean?
Sounds like the dollar store equivalent of like a place that sells bootleg DVDs, and they're all just like knockoffs of shows,
Right.
you know.
Right. I
But,
mean, I certainly would not call my show that. I could not believe. But hey, more power to him if he made it successful, and he's calling it Valuetainment. Got it. In the in the face of the complete worst name ever, he made it work. So can't really say much.
I guess that's fair.
No, I
you
mean
know, he can
it
sell crap.
isn't actually. I mean, it's really easy to have those point of views and have those type of people on the show. I mean, I was actually being a little bit too nice.
Yeah, I want to rattle off a couple of like quick trans news points, and I also want to end with an amusing anecdote about the Cybertruck, because I saw one in the wild, and I have a review for it.
I remember my first Cybertruck. It was my only Cybertruck. I saw one while I was in Austin earlier this year.
Picture cannot do it justice of how stupid this thing looks.
It looks so stupid.
I was sitting in an intersection, and this thing just goes across it, and the only reaction I could have was for like the next 10 minutes of driving, desperately trying to stay on the road, because I was laughing so fucking hard about how stupid that thing looks. I don't know how he did it, but he managed to take the concept of the walk of shame and turn it into a car. But it's the walk of shame if there was a projection of what you did last night to earn that walk playing above your head for the entirety of the world to see. Like, it's the Stone of Triumph from The Simpsons. It's so stupid looking. Oh my god. But yeah, I think I'm gonna make a meme and see if I can't poke Elon into kicking me off Twitter permanently because it's such a dumb fucking car. It is the ugliest fucking vehicle.
It is really, really bad.
And what's worse, he's not gonna have whoever was driving that thing. They were driving it like, you know, at times you kind of feel like there's a body language to somebody's driving on a car. He looked like he was driving that filled to the brim with shame, knowing fully well how bad this idea was of it.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my God.
if you're buying that car, like obviously you don't care. Like you have no shame, honestly. Like you're going in full well knowing people are gonna look at you with a side eye. At least a good portion of people.
I think there's a lot of people who probably are going into it with that mentality. I gotta tell you, you guys look like you're ashamed of yourselves. It's don't do it. Get any other. Go buy some like pretentious sports car or something. At least something that looks cool. Don't buy a fucking Cybertruck. Jesus. No, that was fucking hilarious. And pictures don't do it justice for how stupid that is. But on to the bad news. In Tennessee, I noticed there was a ruling about adoption for LGBTQ kids. Basically, if a parent has their deeply sincere held religious beliefs, like how do you even fucking prove that being LGBTQ is wrong? It is not a reason to bar them from adopting LGBTQ kids. And and I was thinking about this. I found out that this, and then Majority Report. It was either Monday or last week. I don't remember. But they had an interview with a guy talking about how horrifying facilities for troubled teens are. And the whole time I'm thinking about this I'm like, this sounds exactly like the horror stories you hear from conversion camps, which is I do not for an instance doubt that people who are religious zealots who adopt queer kids would send them off to some prayer camp to pray the gay away because they still think you can do that.
Right.
Yeah. And then the other thing is Anne from the UK, and obviously listen chat. Hi, Anne. She sent me a thing talking about the cast review. Apparently, Labor is going to try and implement some recommendations from it. And the cast review is basically, Lance was talking about it a little earlier today. It was this supposed review of a whole bunch of studies to see if the process for taking care of trans children is, there's a review of that. And I guess they were given like 53 studies, 50 of which they rejected. And it has things on it like needing a doctor's note to start social transition. And if anybody in the audience doesn't know what a social transition is, that's just growing out the hair or maybe cutting it, maybe wearing different clothes, trying a different name, trying different pronouns. Stuff you already do with a therapist when this stuff first happens. It's part of the beginning process of seeing whether or not like this is just a phase or if this is a little deeper than that. And, they also want to ban people under like 25 from being able to get recommendations for that. It's just, yeah, it sounds horrible. I couldn't find very many good like articles to read up on it before calling in today. All of it was talking about how like this is a damning report and this is a bombshell, talking about how we've failed our kids by letting them do this stuff, and like Google's going to shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just a couple of pieces. I'm gonna see if I can try, because when Anne tries to call in, like her video, I think, or video calls for however she's doing them, that's like seems to be what's cutting around. Because I play games with her, and like I've been able to use Discord chat with her just fine.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, and honestly, it kind of doesn't surprise me. I mean, there was a while back I know that Anne wanted to tell you about Liz Truss visiting Steve Bannon over here in the USA.
What? Who? I missed that.
Liz Truss. You remember the one?
Oh,
who was
right. Interesting.
Less than it takes for a head of lettuce to rot.
Yeah.
Yeah, our far right and their far right are sharing notes, guys.
Not new. Nothing new there, honestly. I mean,
yeah. But still, Steve Bannon of all the, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to say. I'll get off and let you get to the wrestling talk because I also
don't feel like you have to do that. This has been a great call. Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate isn't the exact wording I'm looking for. It's the way things have been going, obviously. I mean, I feel like, it waned just a little bit over the past couple of years in terms of like the global consolidation of the far right. They had some losses that broke into that, like Bolsonaro, for example. But it's still an ongoing thing. Like they are lock in step. Like you see a lot of fascists, like straight up fascists over here. Big fans of the president of Argentina, Milei. So I mean, there's still that whole sort of dynamic going on.
Yeah, it's they're more coordinated about stuff, and it's really sad because they're coordinated over really evil shit. Oh, before I go, on the off chance Jesse Waters happens to see this, Jesse, sweetie, the man you replaced thought he was irreplaceable. You're just as replaceable as he is. Don't talk to me about skillless fucking jobs.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
But, yeah, look forward to Hansi Call because I love watching people rant about wrestling. It's awesome.
All right, so here you go. Let's get to it. Thanks for the call, Charles. Always a pleasure. All right, Hansi, here's your big moment, buddy. Feel free to call in.
What's up,
Hey,
man?
what's your name? Where you calling from?
Get the hell out of here, man.
Wait, hello?
Come on, don't already mess with me, man. I've already
Oh
had a
wait,
bad
oh
enough-
no, there's. Oh, we have bad connection. Oh no, I don't think we can do this. Nah, Hansi, how you doing? Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, okay. So what do you want to talk about first? Because I didn't watch AEW. Honestly, I've kind of like I've prioritized their show on Wednesdays over AEW Dynamite. Like I'll watch it later. Okay, I'm on the mood. I still watch it and do live Twitter stuff. But the online tribalism and like how forced it is, it's like CM Punk fans are hypocritical. AEW shills are hypocritical. WWE shills are hypocritical. It's way too much for me. So I actually prioritized it coming on this show. But I did see the stupid fucking clip that they advertised that didn't make CM Punk look bad at all whatsoever. This is why, bro. I when I look at wrestling, I analyze it differently than a lot of people. I look at WWE as the old guard, and I feel like since there are scandals like that are blowing up, and I believe they know this, right? I believe they already put AEW in a fucking like if WWE really wanted to kill AEW, they could have prevented them from even getting any fucking attention and all that. So I always believe that there's a mini work between these companies that don't play by regular mom and pop shop rules. That's why I always hate when the wrestling business is analyzed like it's a mom and pop shop. When I don't believe these people play by regular rules. And I just hate that we dumb down the billionaires because you make it seem like Vince McMahon and Tony Khan are both inept. And I actually think that ends up helping them because it downplays how dangerous that they are. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it before we get into the discussion. In case you want to know where my wavelength is,
Well, so we're talking the AEW footage first, I assume then.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally don't understand why they aired it. I thought, okay, so people who don't know. So CM Punk, big wrestler, popular wrestler, he came back to wrestling after 9 years stepping away. And he joined AEW because he hated WWE. That's where he left 9 years ago. He got into huge fights backstage while he was at AEW. And then one of those fights were caught by a security camera in the arena. Punk has since gone back to WWE, which is why he left 9 years ago to begin with.
And they almost killed him, by the way.
And while doing podcasts or radio shows to promote WrestleMania this weekend, he was asked on one really popular podcast, the MMA Hour, about what happened with AEW. And he went into it in detail about what happened backstage with this wrestler, Jack Perry. They got into a physical altercation backstage. And all of a sudden, a couple days later, AEW announces that they have the security camera footage and they're going to air it on their own show Wednesday night. Now, I assumed when they announced they had this footage to air that it would make CM Punk look bad. I assumed one of two things. Either one, it would show that CM Punk's version of events is not accurate. What he said happened didn't happen. Number two, I thought it would show that their guy, who's still with the company, Jack Perry, actually looked better in, standing toe-to-toe with the guy who since left the company, CM Punk. They showed the footage, and I gotta say, I mean, I wouldn't have aired it if that's what it showed. Because it shows that CM Punk, while he may have embellished a little bit, what he said went down, that he was the first to get physical, and he got the guy in a headlock, and then it was broken up. Pretty much is what happened. And then number two, the guy who's not with their company anymore is the one who threw all the he's the one who pushed them. Jack Perry went flying back, Punk went at him, grabbed him by the head, and got him into a headlock, and then they were broken up. I mean, listen, does CM Punk come out looking like he was wrong? Yes, he's the first one who got physical. Is it any crazier than what I assumed it was going to be? No, in fact, it's toned down from what I thought it was going to be show. Would you air it on TV if the purpose is to do something with it? I mean, yeah, if there was something to show, but it shows your guy losing that scuffle. So why show it? Like, it doesn't make Punk look like bad. I mean, yeah, it makes him look like the person who started the fight, but what does that matter?
No, so this is where my theory goes. Like, because and this goes for if your audience doesn't understand. I understand some people in the comments are saying no context. Okay, so the same way I look at wrestling now is the way I look at politics, where like it feels like stuff is just being amplified, and I feel like eventually down the line, I don't know when or where, the reason why they introduced this whole Forbidden Door thing, because I think eventually we are gonna get an AEW versus WWE. Like, I really do believe that, and I do think
never.
No, it's good, dude. It's gonna make up for WCW versus WWE. Like,
it's not gonna happen.
Dude, the only reason why they're putting all this out there is because there's so much profit now with social media currency and engagement. And this is partly why I hate entertainment now. It feels like a lot of stuff that gets promoted, whether it be a movie, like, for example, like, bro, these half the time when, like, let's say you guys are making fun of DeSantis, it's like when some people on the left go like, oh my god, you see what boots DeSantis was wearing? It's like, at the end of the day, you guys are promoting the fucking boots. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's what goes on with wrestling now, more so than ever. That's why I view it more differently. I understand you're going at it from, like, the official version that is, like, you're supposed to go by. I think too much outside the box. That's why I struggle to find anybody to really talk to wrestling with. But I at least try to tie it in to what you can understand with politics, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, we've done that before. We definitely, like, there's obviously that overlap there. Yes. I just, in terms of what you're saying though, with WWE and AEW ever working together, never, because WWE views them as competition. WWE is fine with working with companies that are much smaller, who are never going to be their actual competitor, but they view AEW as a competitor. AEW has a primetime cable TV time. They're on TNT. They have the means with their backing of the Khan family. I mean, this is their competitor. They're never going to work with them.
Okay. No, never say never, but okay. Here's my counter to all that, okay? What's it called? Here's the thing. I understand officially, and this is why I say that, what's it called? Okay, and this is not complimenting Vince McMahon. I just don't like dumbing him down. See, when the Attitude Era died, I feel like they knew, like, their company wasn't going to be, like, at number one. So I feel like under the table, like it's guys like Howard Stern and, like, the official establishment, like even SNL, whatever. When you are supposed to be the villain now, after, all that happened, you are normally seen as somebody that okay, not everyone is going to be blowing up. Like, it's going to have their own style. So for people to actually blow up and people think it's more genuine, it's like WWE can co-sign you and go send you on your assignment, and you pretend that you're an outsider. Like, Bryan Danielson was always in their system since 2001, even though he went off to go do his Ring of Honor stuff. Like, it's like how in SNL, like, I feel like SNL, they didn't really fire Shane Gillis. It's like, under the table, they look like the villains to the right-wing audience, and he blew up. Like, if you're not supposed to blow up, like, they would make sure you don't blow up. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like we downplay that. And so the reason why I'm saying AEW will be different is because WWE can sabotage and get away with certain stuff. Like, the fact that, like, there's no way that AEW can afford all these contracts. And I'm saying that, like, some of the more established guys like Bryan Claudio, and all these guys. I feel like under the table, they're like really getting paid by WWE, but they're like
No.
helping.
No.
So you don't. Okay, so I mean, I guess we'll disagree on that because, dude, I look at it more advanced, man. I don't know. I think dumbing it down is like
You're
like,
looking
you know,
you're looking for a conspiracy theory where there isn't.
see, this is where I would end up calling you a shill, whatever. But I like you, Matt, and I'm gonna just say fine.
You think WWE is paying former WWE guys to go work in AEW and take a salary from them and
No.
make AEW believe that they're working for them, but they're really like undercover WWE agents and spies?
No. What I'm saying is because AEW is supposed to be on the right, like WWE, if they wanted to, they could sabotage and just like Vince McMahon's that much more fucking powerful than people fucking realize. So if
Vince McMahon's
if
not
they
there
didn't-
anymore.
Supposedly he's not there.
No, he's definitely no. See, now you're doing no. For the first time ever, you can guarantee Vince McMahon is no longer a part of the company.
I'll make a prediction. The Saudis are gonna own TKO eventually, and he will be back.
No.
Matt, I'm telling you, bro. It's gonna fine. Save this conversation. I'm gonna be
I
proven
will.
right.
I
A lot of
will.
this shit.
You're
All right,
wrong.
fine,
It's not
fine.
gonna happen. The Saudis had their chance. They lost it.
You Matt, you gotta understand that what they call, because WWE is in the middle of a scandal, and the only way that this could matter, because I always feel
They
now
just
that what the,
UFC and WWE just joined together to form TKO. It's not going anywhere anytime soon.
well, I do think they will sell to the. I do think TKO will sell to the Saudis.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess you don't want to hear my theory. Like, here's the thing.
Well, aren't we gonna talk about WrestleMania?
All right, fine. Fine. You know what? Clearly, we're not meeting at the same level with my theories, whatever. I'm not explaining it properly. That's fine. I have that's my view. It's the way I view it, whatever. Maybe you're doing a bit of kayfabe right now. You're trying to dumb down the leftist mafia power, trying to dumb me down. But it's fine. Let's talk about WrestleMania. Did you watch both nights?
I did. I gotta say, there's nothing I can really be a Debbie Downer for. I thought it was a great show both days.
I thought the second night didn't entice me on paper. I thought most of the good matches were going to be on night one, but I only cared about I ultimately ended up caring about 3 matches.
Which ones?
On night. The ladder match was good, but I'm so beyond ladder matches. I get it. If you're gonna do a ladder match, you might as well do it at a WrestleMania because you get the max reaction to all the spots. I think I'm just bored and seeing all the spots in ladder matches that what's it called, like, you know what I mean? I feel like sometimes it's aimless. You know what I mean? It just AEW has also helped water that down. So I wasn't really the biggest fan of the ladder match, but the women's match, the Sami and Gunther match, and the main event were probably the matches I liked on night one. The other ones were kind of heatless. Like, you know, the women, like the women's 6-minute women thing. I thought, what was the other match? The Rey Mysterio one. That was so heatless as well. You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't care about any of that. So
There were some matches that were great. Like, it wasn't great build up, but they were good for what they were.
Yeah, but I would say the matches that I was invested to were the matches that had a good build up, and that was Rhea and Becky, Sami and Gunther. Like, that was a match of the show for that night. And then I thought the main event was too long for the tag match, but they actually built a good pace. But I thought night 2, I thought night 2 was like really, really solid. The only match I really didn't like too much were probably the Final Testament and Bobby Lashley match. I don't really care for Bully Ray, and also I didn't
nothing special.
And that LA Knight and AJ Styles was bad. I thought that it was too short before I got to next year. I thought I should have gone a little bit longer. It wasn't one of like the better AJ Styles matches at Mania. The rest of the matches I actually ended up liking a lot, even though some of the builds for some of the matches I didn't like. Like, I did like Punk getting involved. I did like that Seth lost the title early because you know what I mean. But the main event, bro, was like one of the more like that's the match you need to have to basically have the end of a fucking epic title reign. Because to me, like the end of a title reign defines at least 60% of the title reign because it has to end epic to me, especially with how long it fucking went. And since they built up real life heat with people getting sick of it, which reminded me of the 80s when you had to wait, like not every single week was going to be the most riveting part of an angle like in the Attitude Era. You had to wait every couple of months for big time moments between Hogan and Savage and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So as an old school guy in that way, I appreciate the Bloodline story. I like every element of every moment that they were, you know, doing television. Sometimes it was stagnant, I admit that, but they kept it hot when it needed to be hot. And I thought like that final match was epic enough where what's it called, like all the throwback, all the callbacks to the old match, and then all the people participating and interfering and all that. I thought it was a really, really good finale with the max pop that you could imagine, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was the main event was and the storyline building up to it was great. It was a long-term story with Cody and Roman Reigns and the Bloodline and The Rock, and I think it definitely delivered. Obviously, the surprise of The Undertaker showing up was not as great as it would have been if it was Stone Cold, which I thought it was going to be. But it is what it is. John Cena actually popped me more than Undertaker. I was legitimately shocked Cena showed up. And Cena showing up makes sense because he's a babyface, a guy who would totally stand up for Cody because he sees that something is unfair and that all these guys are all ganging up on Cody, so that made sense. The Undertaker showing up to take out The Rock to help Cody, that didn't make sense to me. I know people are really twisting things around to try to make it make sense, but it doesn't make any sense.
I can't make it make sense. I come with you that it would have been a bigger deal if Austin was the one that did it. But you can justify it by showing that Undertaker has always been kind of a locker room leader. So you could say that he doesn't really like one of his Attitude Era, like, you know, luminaries is doing to abuse power because Undertaker is he was the guy that threatened Shawn Michaels to go out and face Austin because Shawn Michaels was thinking of not going out there. You know what I mean? So, like, in that sense, you can kind of tie it in. Also, he did have a match with Roman at WrestleMania, so you can say that it's one of Roman's.
But he never touches Roman. He just chokeslams The Rock, and that's it.
Well, I mean, they did have beef too, though. I
mean, that's a while ago and never mentioned once. I think, again, I think everyone's trying to stretch to make it work. I mean, they could come out and make it make sense, but they're not going to because it doesn't matter. Because Undertaker's not becoming part of the storyline because Undertaker's retired. It was just a WrestleMania run-in they needed. Again, at the end of the day, I don't really have a problem with it. I enjoyed all the run-ins. I think it worked in this match. It made it feel really big that like the entirety of the WWE was so heavily invested in what happened here. But the Undertaker specifically being the sort of the final guy who evens things out. That's the one thing that doesn't totally work. But again, not terrible.
You know who? Honestly, if AEW had allowed it, you know who would have probably got a bit better pop? Even though he's not as big legend as Undertaker, if you let Dustin come down and interfere.
I really wish they did that. I really thought they could work something out for that. See, I do think WWE and AEW could work together in the sense that for a storyline like that, what would have been the big deal for WWE to reach out to AEW and been like, can we have Dustin for this one run-in? Doesn't hurt anybody. That I could see happening. But they didn't do that. So that relationship's not even there. The fact that the guy's own brother didn't run in, and his brother's a very well-known wrestler himself, that to me was ridiculous. Like imagine we're supposed to believe that like the Bloodline is ruining Cody's chance to be champion, even though Cody has done the work, he's about to beat Roman, and they're cheating to stop him. and his own brother can't run down to the ring because sorry little bro, but I work for another company. Never! If this was real, that person wouldn't care. They would run out there and help their little brother. You know what I mean? But it's not real.
You know,
it's storyline.
You know, I know the casuals might not like know exactly, but there's a lot of hardcore that were there. I think because I personally believe Starks is leaving AEW soon, and I thought there was a chance that him or MJF.
No, they're never going to push a guy unknown to the
under Triple H's new leadership.
Nope.
Because they wanted Jade. Like they treated her like the biggest star ever.
She was in NXT. She was in NXT.
No, she wasn't.
Who?
She was Jade.
Oh, Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
I thought you said someone else.
No, she's an unknown from AEW.
Yeah, but they built her up as the hottest free agent out there.
But no,
they didn't just throw her out there.
But Triple H's since Triple H, what's it called? People don't know who Nick Aldis is, and they're treating him with respect.
They established him as the SmackDown general manager. That's how they brought him into the WWE.
People would, I'll tell you the truth. MJF started talking shit to The Rock on Twitter and said, "How dare you contact my ex for a painting portrait, whatever, and all that." I thought that was a hint that MJF was really gonna fuck. I do believe he's showing up in WWE. I really do believe that.
I mean, maybe I can see that, but there's no way WWE is having an unknown to the majority of their audience do a run-in as like the big.
It would have been
unknown
because there's a lot of hardcore.
They don't care about that.
Would have been a response.
They don't care.
There would have been a response if there was a lot of hardcores in the audience that watched both. Like, I'm not saying everyone was gonna know him, but like that would have been. I don't know. Let me ask you a question though. Yeah. Judging as the whole storyline with that kind of finale, right? And I know you're one of these guys that love the Attitude Era on WCW and all that, right?
Well, I like the WCW era of the Attitude Era. WWE was I thought they obviously had their moments, but I was a bigger WCW fan in the from like 96 to like what 98. I was a WCW 99. guy, over a WWE guy.
You figure Polka Doom probably turned you off, right?
The whole changeover era, what was it called? The New Blood era. Normally I would like that they were pushing younger guys, but they just brought younger guys in and immediately just said they're on the same level without establishing them. And it doesn't work that way when you're bringing in that many guys, at least.
No. I don't understand that. So let me ask you this then, okay? So I understand people always say Austin McMahon, one of the best storylines WWE has ever done.
No, it's Sting versus the NWO. That's the best storyline in professional wrestling history.
Okay, so hold on a second. If I'm comparing it to a movie, if they fucked up the ending, would you really say that was a good movie? So that's what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna make a bold statement. I know you're gonna probably disagree. The Bloodline storyline, as like the finale, landing the finale and building it up for the last 4 years, and landing the finale, which is the most important part. I think the Bloodline storyline is better than NWO versus Sting.
That's a good one.
The build for NWO Sting was phenomenal. I'm not going to even doubt that. What the called
yeah,
that was like.
You know what?
Really
I think you're right. I think you're right. The build up, the best is still WCW versus NWO, but the payoff, the Bloodline was better.
Like that story, the way that Roman Reigns and Cody ended, that's what I in my head always envisioned what I wanted with Sting and Hogan. I wanted all the callbacks and people interfering and then old enemies. Remember a couple months earlier, Lex Luger beat Hogan for the title, and there was like this big celebration. You go, "Oh my god, it's a big fucking deal." thought like that was like even more epic than what they did with Sting and Hogan. You know what I mean? And I also think it's a mistake that Sting took a whole year off from actually wrestling. Like he could have been a loner and still done what he did, but I still think it was a mistake not having him in matches to like at least do like I don't bow down to NWW or NWO. I still think he should have had matches with other NWO guys to build to Hogan while still being mysterious. I think not even letting him wrestle, I think that was a big mistake because when he came back for his match, there was a lot of fucking ring rust. Like he wasn't good, you know.
Well, no, I don't think his ring rust was really the problem though. The problem was just how the match was booked in general, and you know, yeah. The question is, can they they had the payoff. For me, the question is, what do they do next? Can they deliver next? And that I don't know. That was such a good storyline. It took over everything. Roman Reigns held the title for 4 years, and now we got a new champion for the first time in 4 years. Can they deliver on the follow-up? What's next? That's going to be rough. We'll see though.
And also, here's another thing. I think what also ruined the NWO storyline's legacy is that there was a bunch of knockoffs afterwards from like, you know, like it's like straight to DVD versions, like the Bret Hart and Jeff Jarrett and Kevin Nash version, or the WWE version with like, you know, Shawn Michaels for a bit, whatever, right? So I think the legacy of that got ruined. So it depends on how they carry it over. But I think this storyline probably elevated more careers, and it had a ripple effect on other storylines throughout the last 4 years where the characters have all evolved. Like it made Drew McIntyre interesting. It made Sami Zayn more interesting. It made Jey Uso more interesting. Jimmy Uso, he still went back to like comical shit, whatever, but it made Solo. It brought back Cena. Like it affected many programs.
That's what I miss about the Attitude Era was that they had a lot of stables. A lot of large groups and teams that they put together. So it gave everybody on the roster something to do. Like, if it wasn't for the Bloodline, what the fuck would Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso been doing? They would have been just hanging out backstage in the catering. They have no role. But as part of the Bloodline, though, they had very important roles. They need to have more groups. There need to be more stables in professional wrestling in WWE and in AEW. And everyone should have a role.
I want a combination of 80s build and like elements. See, the one thing I hate about 80s, because I didn't get to watch WCW, NWA and all that. I only was WWE in Canada, basically, right? So one thing that I hate about, as much as I like how they built up angles in the 80s and early 90s, the 90s it changed a little bit, even though it was a downtime for WWE, but I'll always put it over because I liked elements of what they try to do with booking. Because in the 80s, it was like, if you're a good guy, you could never wrestle for the title. And you could never challenge Hogan. And if you lost to Hogan, you'd go down the card. So I never really liked, like as much as a Hogan fan, I didn't like how they did that. What I liked about the Attitude Era, it felt like anybody could be like elevated to the next level. Like you had tag teams working with main event guys, even though sometimes the tag team guys would get kind of buried at the behest of like The Rock or The Undertaker randomly becoming a tag team. And then if they lost the titles back, it would be because of overbooking, whatever, right? So there's elements of the Attitude Era where you feel like anything could happen, and they would basically let, you know, good guys face good guys, bad guys face bad guys, and people didn't have to go down the card and all that kind of stuff. You still had several main eventers. So I like that element. What I hate about the Attitude Era is that they rushed all this booking. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for example, Hulk Hogan getting hospitalized. You know what I mean? You built up suspense, like, oh my God, 2 months, he's out, he's gonna come back and beat Earthquake, whatever, right? Stone Cold gets like hit by a car, and he'll be back like by the end of the fucking night. Like I just hated that type of fucking booking. And
I agree with that. Yeah, there needs to be. This is the thing that always bothered me. They have all the time in the world. There's no seasons. They have shows 52 weeks of the year. They have like 7 hours of TV time. And then they also have unlimited time on their own network platform and on social media to do angles on there too. They have unlimited time to let storylines play out. Yet historically, maybe that's changing now because the boss is different now. But historically, they've still always booked it as if storyline begins after the last pay-per-view event and it ends at the next pay-per-view event, and then rinse, recycle, repeat. The storyline lasts from the end of one pay-per-view event to the beginning of the next until the next pay-per-view event. They don't need to do that. They could run storylines for as long as they want. They could let things breathe. They could let things go on for a long time. I mean, we saw that with Roman and Cody, and that's why it was so good. They don't have to rush things.
Yeah. So that's why, like, you know, I know it was a downtime in the early '90s to mid '90s for WWE, but like, for example, like, imagine if the Owen Hart and Bret Hart feud happened in the Attitude Era. That would have been like done within like 3 months. Like, the fact that they built that up from Survivor Series '93 all the way to SummerSlam '94, like, just like elements, and then, you know, Owen Hart, like, you know what I mean? That's probably one of my favorite storylines in WWE, Bret and Owen. Like, that was like a phenomenal way of making, like, people can say shit about Bret Hart's era of being on the top. Bret Hart, he made more guys than anybody. For somebody that didn't get made by a lot of established guys. Like, he had to rely on Mr. Perfect or Jerry Lawler or Bob Backlund to be made guys that were credible in the kayfabe sense. But like, he didn't have a Hogan or a Savage to like put him over and really solidify him. I think the way that I turned I changed my tune on Bret Hart and looking at him in a different light was when Piper didn't lose much in WWE. Like, he never really lost to Hogan, but he lost clean to Bret Hart. And so that like elevated Bret Hart in that level, whatever. So Bret Hart put over Shawn Michaels. He put over, like, even though he won these feuds, he made them more important. He made Shawn Michaels more important. He made Owen Hart more important. He made Bob Backlund more relevant. Like, you know, even in the '90s when he was a boring personality. And most importantly, he made Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is way more important than Austin and McMahon, in my personal opinion. Without Bret Hart, there is no Steve Austin.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's Austin. Bret Hart made Austin, and that feud between the two of them. I mean, that visual of Austin and the sharpshooter and blood pouring down his face. That's like that's I think what put him on the map, really.
But see, the thing is, the only weakness about that is that what would have made it become more epic, full circle, is if Bret Hart still stayed with WWE and not got screwed over, right? And Austin beat him at WrestleMania 14 instead of Shawn Michaels. I think coming full circle at the next year's Mania to beat the guy that you couldn't beat twice, you know, on a big stage would have been a great. Even though the feud itself was already epic as is, and Austin became. But I still think it would have been. I think it would have meant a lot more if Austin had beaten Bret for the title. Which is why, if Bret Hart didn't want to lose to Shawn Michaels, they should have called an audible and let Austin beat Bret at Survivor Series '97.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What do you think of the other matches that were on? Like, what do you think of?
I loved how the Seth Rollins Drew McIntyre match and what happened there. It was great. That was really well booked. They gave Drew McIntyre his WrestleMania moment, which I always thought was super lame, that he won his first world title at the WrestleMania with nobody there because of COVID, and how much that must have sucked to like put your whole life into this career to get to this moment and you don't get it. Like, he won and it didn't matter. No one was there to celebrate with him. There was no arena. He won in front of nobody. So for them to give him the chance to have that moment in front of a crowd 4 years later, I thought was great. And then I loved that they made CM Punk part of it by continuing his feud with McIntyre, and, you know, Drew McIntyre getting overly cocky and taunting Punk, and then Punk attacking him. And then, of course, the Money in the Bank cash in with Damian Priest. I thought the whole thing was perfect.
what's it called? Yeah, I like. So I actually like that one a lot. I think Drew McIntyre is doing like some of the best. I don't know if you've seen much of his character work over the last several months.
Oh, he's
but
been
like
great
him,
going after Punk. I mean, it shows that he's been distracted this whole time, that he's been consumed by hating CM Punk.
But I'm talking about how he had like in the beginning of this turn for Drew, he had a justified thing to go. Why are the people like Cody and Sami Zayn, all these guys, advocating for Jey Uso when this guy helped screwed me over for winning the title, or whatever? And he had justified anger, and then his justified anger was like still making him a hypocrite because the more you saw him, he was actually letting the bloodline interfere and all that kind of stuff during some of his matches, and he didn't have that much vitriol. So watching him having justified opinions about why he turned heel and then slowly become a hypocrite was actually some of his best character work that he's ever actually done. I don't know if you've seen like the amount of stuff that he's been doing the last several months since the last summer or whatever. But but now he's becoming a little bit more comical, I guess. But like the beginning of his turn was some of the best stuff like that. You never see that kind of depth from a guy that turns heel. It's mostly like, oh, I turned heel and I'm gonna blame the people for for me turning heel. You're not giving like a valid reason. So did you see any of like his turn prior, like the stuff with like the bloodline and how he felt?
Wait, are you talking about McIntyre?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I did. What we were maybe I didn't. He had a feud with the bloodline.
Well, no. So the year prior, he lost to Roman Reigns when he was a good guy, and then he started. So then this year he was still a good guy, but then what happened was when Jey Uso left the bloodline and he wanted to leave the company in kayfabe, Cody Rhodes in storyline brought him to Raw, and then Drew was like getting mad at Cody and Seth and Sammy for like, you guys got screwed over by the bloodline and you're trusting this guy. And then like they're trying to say, hey man, let it go, man. Everyone got, and Drew's like, listen, I went to the biggest show in my home country, and I prayed for this moment. I didn't win my title in front of fans, and and this is all the sacrifice I had, and what they call the bloodline screwed me, and you guys are allowing Jey Uso to come here. So he had valid fucking opinions about that. As like time was going on, he was becoming more and more a hypocrite. He would like mock the idea, going, "Oh look, guys, I cheated, but guess what? I apologized, like Jey Uso. So now you have to forgive me." So like he was doing that level of stuff, whatever. And then like as time was going on more and more, he was becoming more hypocritical, and he was becoming like somebody that advocated for cheating, even though he was against it. Even though the bloodline would help him to like screw over his opponents, he didn't mind the bloodline helping out, even though the whole point of him turning heel was because the good guys were forgiving Jey Uso for what the bloodline has done, basically. So like that's another element of why the bloodline storyline trickled down to Drew McIntyre's trajectory of why Drew McIntyre is really, really entertaining the last 6-7 months or so.
Oh, all right. I missed all that.
So like you gotta go back and look at some of these segments, bro. Like some of these, he was playing some of the promos of his life with So it started out really, really good. That's why people have been more amplified for this Drew. Like if you notice, people are buzzing for him, but this is like the work.
I just thought he was doing. Cause I really enjoyed his what he's been doing with Punk. I thought it was great. Like his obsession with going after him. I thought it was great. It was a good touch.
Yeah, so that's pretty good that you still were hyped for it, but I could have sworn you may have like already knew about the other stuff, because that was like the stuff that was really, really being implemented. You know what I mean? Like he was like advocating for cheating a lot more, or for example, like like when somebody was getting beaten down, he didn't want to be the typical good guy to come out because he's like, it's none of my business. I don't care about Jey Uso getting beaten down. So he was doing like he was justified in what he was saying because yeah, he got screwed over. He shouldn't forgive the bloodline or Jey Uso if he doesn't want to. But like all the other good guys were getting fucked over by Drew because they were willing to give Jey Uso a chance, basically.
Ah, all right. I have to go back and watch that.
See, that's another match that I didn't think that on par. Where would you put that brother versus brother?
That was probably one of the worst matches on the show, but it wasn't horrible because the storyline again was so good. But in terms of, I don't think Jimmy Uso is as good as Jey Uso, so I think that's what held it back.
Yeah, what's it called? Yeah, like there's gonna be no brother versus brother match at WrestleMania that'll ever top Owen Hart versus Bret Hart. Like that one is like you know what I mean? Like,
well, I think it's a bad move to even compare it. It's not even close, you know.
Like the only other brother versus brother match was Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy, and that creative going in was not good at all. Like Matt Hardy trying to kill Jeff Hardy with an exploding car and shit. I guess in kayfabe you can say Undertaker and Kane is a brother versus brother match, but like I don't give a shit about any of these guys anymore. They're all like Kane. Glenn Jacobs is like all like wokeness is a weakness. I never, dude.
Oh yeah, he's a far right winger. That guy.
I despise Bryan Danielson for ever saying that Kane is a really, really smart guy. Like, because the interview, they're like, okay, maybe Kane is smart if Bryan Danielson is like giving him, because Bryan Danielson seems like a lefty guy, but like he typed Kane as like this genius. This guy's like one of the dumbest guys that I ever.
Kane does seem like he's a pretty dumb guy.
But yeah, no, what did you like, Sammy and Gunther?
Oh, that was a great match. That was probably one of the best matches on the card.
Have you seen much of Gunther's reign?
I saw a few. I saw his stuff against Chad Gable. It was a good reign. I mean, he had good matches throughout.
Not even just good matches, man. He had good promos. He had good feuds, and I think this probably is the best IC title reign. Like one of the best in recent memory of somebody looking dominant. I'm so glad they broke the record because dude, for so long I thought, okay, listen, I'm like, it's cool that
you weren't a hockey tonk man, Mark.
No, I was. I thought as a kid.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, but as a kid, it was epic how he lost that title to Ultimate Warrior in 10 seconds. Yes. So to me, that's a lasting memory of a good finale to a long reign, right? So from that point forward, I always advocated for somebody else to break the record, and several times I thought, okay, The Rock should break the record when he was IC champion. Okay, fine, The Rock's not going to do it. You know what? I think Benoit should do it. Okay, era, they change titles every so often. Okay, I'm like, Cody Rhodes should be the guy to break the record. Miz should break the guy record. Kevin Owens should do it. You know what I mean? Several guys. So I finally was glad they elevated the IC title like how it was in the 80s, where it felt like one of the most important titles. It didn't feel like it was a downgrade from the world title. It feels just as important as the world title with how Gunther like carried it for the last 2 years or so.
Yeah, I really enjoyed his reign. I mean, I think I would love to see him get a main event, like go after the one of the world titles.
Yeah, I think,
and I hope they do something good with Sammy and Chad Gable.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Sammy already won. Like, you know how during the last 10 years, like the title, like for example, it depends who holds the title, but some people will not get a good reign. They'll just get an empty reign where like they just lose matches and then you go, okay, I'll defend it, whatever, every once in a while, whatever, and it wouldn't really matter. Sami Zayn already had 2 reigns, and even though like they weren't like the greatest reigns, I think what makes a good reign is if you can make memorable promos and get good character work out of it. And I thought in his previous reigns he got good character work, but I really did want Gable to be the guy to beat Gunther, even though I wanted Sami Zayn to actually be in the main event picture. You know what I mean? I wanted the underdog to. I thought he was definitely gonna like be in the Drew McIntyre Seth Rollins match. I thought like he would be a player in there. I thought Gable should have definitely been the one to actually dethrone Gunther. If I'm being, I love Sami Zayn though. You know what I mean? But I think Sami Zayn should have actually been in the world title picture if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been nice to see Chad Gable do it, but I think they sort of that ship sailed when they didn't pull the trigger when they should have. But they could certainly rebuild that aura around him. But I just think once Gunther beat him 3 times, that was it, you know?
Yeah, I get you. What's it called? What did you think about the U.S. title match with Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton?
It was good. That was good. I mean, I hate that Logan Paul is such a natural at this. He actually is really good as a professional wrestler. He's extremely athletic. He knows what he's got it. Like, he gets it. And, yeah, I mean, that's the annoying part, right? I mean...
Well, I mean, listen, man. Listen, bro. At this point, I'm expecting everyone in every institution in every entertainment world and politics that they're all somehow everyone's going to be a scumbag. I've given up on going. Well, this guy is going to be a good person, and then you find out that this person.
I mean, I think the mistake is to look up at to these any celebrity or any famous person.
See, see. If you notice that I do come on here and I'm a little bit vitriolic towards Punk, it's not that I'm mad at Punk himself. I just hate like people who have a big following, and their fan bases are just fucking annoying. I just and it's a reflection of what Punk wants, because Punk loves the fact that he has his shills like always bringing his name up all the time online.
I mean, listen, I'm a huge CM Punk fan, but I'm not one of those guys. Like, he clearly,
yeah, exactly.
He clearly, it takes there's no way his attitude wasn't a major issue in AEW. And there's no doubt about it that he has very thin skin now for a guy who made a career out of being, someone who could dish it. He's clearly someone who could dish it but can't take it. He turned things in AEW into fights that didn't need to be fights. With all that said, still a CM Punk fan.
and listen, bro, I'm not about just fucking shitting on someone and pointing to issues. I also get to root cause. He said something interesting that no one paid attention to. He said in that interview with Ariel Helwani, maybe it's because of the stuff that I've gone through in my past, like in growing up, because if you know his upbringing, like between having issues with his family and all that kind of stuff, and kind of having fights, whatever. I can relate to that. I understand he might not be mentally well, but the thing is, what scares me is that when you become somebody of prominence and you have that kind of baggage, it's like you now use it to go, well, I'm not going to get screwed over, so I'm going to overuse my influence and power to basically fuck over other people. That's why I hate this notion that any corruption in WWE or AEW, it's only an issue when CM Punk is the one who gets fucking screwed over. Like, no one should get screwed over, but I hate the fact that, like, because somebody like Kyrie Ray or Kylie Ray or someone like Swole, they're not big stars and they're women and all that kind of stuff, that like them dealing with fucked up shit going on over there, that what to call like their problems seem smaller because CM Punk didn't go through that. You know what I mean? That's my issue. You know what I mean? It's not against Punk in like a personal fucking way. I just hate that power dynamic, and that's just my personal opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm alone in that, because most people care about when someone who's super established gets screwed over. They don't really care when somebody, because as somebody that's getting screwed over the past 15 years with all the torment that I had to go through, no one cares. What they're called, like, I fucking get triggered by that myself. So that's why I kind of go haywire when talking about it, if that makes sense.
No, I see what you're saying. He could be a hypocrite for sure.
What's it called? I know I've been on for a long time, but before I did want to talk about some other thing before I go, whatever.
Yes, do one more and then I'll move on. Yeah. This is
Yeah,
a great
okay, so-
call,
yeah,
by the
sorry.
way. I needed to talk about this. I needed to talk
No, no,
about
I
WrestleMania
always get it.
days after it happened, because otherwise, when else am I going to talk about it on this show?
No, no, I get it. But I'm also considerate to your fan base as well, who are not wrestling fans. I understand, like, they might kind of get.
Honestly,
bored
I
with
think
it.
we lost all them already. I think we dropped like by like 150 people during this conversation.
You know, I apologize, man. I apologize.
No, I
man.
needed to listen. Everyone gets it. They get news and politics from me all the time, whether I'm streaming here, streaming on Leftist Mafia, doing my regular social media stuff, my reporting. People, this is how more often do I talk in depth about pro wrestling? Not that all that often. So everyone gets it.
The thing is, if you could, I think you'd get people more on board with wrestling if you could tie politics into it, because they're very fucking similar. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the thing is, like, if you hate wrestling and you're engaging in all this social media stuff and discourse with like political culture wars, like, it's basically professional wrestling. It's like they borrow from professional wrestling. You know what I mean? Like an example, right?
I hate to interrupt you. 1 second, Hansi. Peganox over on Twitch. Thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. If you're new to this channel, be sure to follow me. Usually I'm talking news and politics and tech or whatever is going on. It's WrestleMania just happened a couple days ago. Hansi, a regular listener and caller of the show, is a big wrestling fan just like I am. So we're having a little wrestling chat. I'm sorry if you guys aren't wrestling fans. We're trying to make it fun to listen to regardless. But this is not, it's not completely abnormal, but it's not what I talk about every week. But let's we're wrapping it up. So let's go ahead.
I did want to tie it to politics because I just listen, what's going on with like all this Elon Musk shit. I feel like I feel like that's the next level of scandals, is finding out that like a lot of people like who are in powerful positions all have burner accounts. I feel like it's all like sports entertainment marketing. Like Elon Musk doesn't give a shit if I'm glad you guys are reporting on it. It should be reported on. I don't think Elon Musk really gives a shit, because like, what consequences are going to happen to the guy? The guy already gets away with so much other. Like, this guy's quoting Nazis and shit like that. Do people think there's going to be one comeuppance for him to like get exposed for his burner? I expected like these people are probably getting paid by him somehow to like tweet for him anyways. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at the political landscape, bro, and it just seems like to ask you a question, because the pandemic happened, and I'm hearing about long.
What? There was a pandemic.
Like, no, but I'm reading up more on long COVID and people bringing up
It's
like,
still
you know,
going on. Yeah, I mean, people are still getting COVID. Period. Obviously, but yeah, COVID is a real problem. Long COVID is a real issue.
So do you think? I personally do think. Like, and this is where, again, the conspiratorial thing isn't like, oh my God, Fauci and Bill Gates are like these blood-sucking liberals, whatever. But do I think that what they call people in high-up positions know where the world is going and they can organize? Because the same time when the pandemic happened, I feel like that was the beginning of the Civil War era, because protests and insurrections broke out. Now with election year happening and everything I felt like even though COVID and all that was real, the Black Lives Matter and the insurrection and all that kind of stuff, I feel organized a little bit, whatever. But I feel like that was the beginning, the test run, before we get to like the one that's really going to go out of control. So do you sense like things getting so out of control with this bird flu or something like that things get shut down again during an election year? Because I personally don't even think.
No. I mean, I actually think I'm not thinking the way you're thinking. I'm thinking the opposite, that we will have a real problem legitimately doing a lockdown or a shutdown when the next pandemic comes along. We will, because of people will not believe it, because of how people, reacted to this at the end of the day. Like,
Well,
we're gonna have a
see-
real problem. God forbid, in the next couple of years, there's another big pandemic, like a new pandemic where we don't have a vaccine for, and we have to do a shutdown or a lockdown. I don't think a good portion of people just would not listen.
Well, no. See, that's
Much more so than last time around.
That's my that's my point of the manipulation. What we're trying to point out, because the first pandemic was like really new, right? So people reluctantly went along with it, and some of these people lost their fucking minds. Some of these bad grifters decided to lose their fucking minds and start fucking promoting anti-vaccine, and they made it look like people would get censored, right? So I believe that's marketing to make it seem like, oh, you weren't allowed to question it, even though that's become a huge marketing tool. By like, oh my God, I'm Jimmy Dore, I was censored, even though I'm still on everyone's.
I
fucking
forgot about
platform.
Jimmy Dore. He hasn't made any news in quite some time.
Well,
He's,
because
he's
TYT is outdoing him in his right wing grift, basically. No, but what's it called? But to your point though, that's my point. What's it called? So over the last few years, there's been more vitriol, more of these right wingers going, they locked us down, and now we're gonna get revenge. So when there is a new pandemic, when I mean there's gonna be a new pandemic and a lockdown, I don't think it's going to be a successful lockdown, because they already made you not care about vaccines. They've already made you not care about fucking the health risk and all that kind of shit. So that, to your point, the next time they announce one, that's what I'm saying. That's where it's going to go all haywire. That's why I called the COVID era the new Civil War era, because so many things were implemented. Like I personally believe, like, if they somehow like end up releasing Derek Chauvin from fucking prison, like, because they're building that up with like, oh my God, did you know Derek Chauvin got punched in prison? Oh my God, there's safety risk in prisons, while like they ignore other black people that haven't done anything who are in more danger. But like the right wing will act like, oh my God, these people are locked up. I believe that if something like him gets released, I believe we're gonna see we're gonna see season 2 of that fucking show of George Chauvin, George Floyd, fucking, and then the insurrection and all that kind of shit. I feel personally it's all been a testing ground for the real fucking thing when it goes to like the revolution era, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I don't know if I exactly agree. But I mean, I don't have, we don't know. Do I think, I mean, surely something will, things will continue to happen, and something will eventually, like, obviously, resonate with people in a way that causes a larger protest or something. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, listen, I know you're not with me on 100%. Is it really that crazy to think, with all the stuff that we're seeing on the surface and what gets promoted, what gets propped up, the limited narratives, like, is it that crazy to think that there's factions? Like, I'm not talking, again, I know when you say factions, the right wing will go, oh, the deep state liberal Jews who are sucking your blood. I understand they do that type of shit, but they self-preserve certain elements of truth in their conspiracy. I just wish the left would not poo-poo on conspiracies, because all the stuff that the right wing are projecting about, all the fucking people that they're fucking pointing at, they're the ones who are guilty, in my personal opinion, of the stuff they're the ones who are sex trafficking kids. They're the ones who are trying to manufacture consent. That's why I get mad, bro, at these celebrity stories. Like, for example, this Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, I guarantee you it's going to be the new what was the other one? Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
Like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm out of the loop. I didn't even know there was something going on between the two of them.
That one's getting heated, right? But what I'm saying is they use celebrity shit to basically manufacture consent, so that you constantly have gender wars going on with regular people who don't live by the same rules. Most of these celebrities probably have an arranged marriage. It's a scripted, like they're reality show.
No, I don't think that's the case.
You certainly. honestly, you seriously don't think that, dude, with all the stuff that you know about Diddy's stuff going on, you don't think there's anything more sinister with Epstein and all that? I understand you don't want to
I think rich people feel that they're untouchable, so they do things to retain power, to feel powerful, and to sometimes even further enrich themselves. I don't think that's really a big conspiracy. It's just the truth.
Well, the thing is, okay, all the people that are getting in trouble, I feel they're already above the law. That what's it called now? By shell companies or other fucking shell stuff they have online, they can now profit off of their own. Like, I guarantee you, Diddy, the reason why they're doing it now is because now the entertainment dollar, the feds who have a entertainment liaison in show business, this is where show business is going with these real life discourse. I guarantee you, Diddy will get away with it. Like they have no issue with us knowing what evil shit they're doing, because who's been canceled? Like, no one's been. Bill Cosby got let out of prison. Like, I'm telling you, a lot of I know you don't see it my way, but I do think by thinking that celebrity shit is relatable to regular people, it's giving us a big fucking mistake. I'm telling you that do you watch the show The Boys?
I watched the first season or two. I don't remember when I stopped. I didn't stop because I didn't like it. It's a good show. I just haven't. Sometimes shows just fall out of my my lineup, not on purpose.
So the way that they present that world over there, the superheroes in our world are celebrities. So that's how I look at the world. Like, you know what I mean? So I look at like people will make fun of the royal family in London, England, right? All that shit, right? I understand that, but people act like in America these institutions, like these family institutions, like the Kardashians, aren't a royal family. They don't call each other kings and queens, but like once you become an established like family that can be an institution. Like
Kim Kardashian is my queen.
Really?
No, I'm joking. I hate that type of those shows.
But like, do you notice that everyone that goes into that family who is associated with it ends up fucking spiraling out of control?
Well, yeah, because rich people get a lot of money and attention, and some of them don't know how to deal with it. Some of them know exactly how to deal with it and how to play into it.
See, Matt, I believe. I'm gonna leave soon, but I think you're really simple.
I think a problem is. Sometimes we look too deep into stuff that is fairly straightforward and simple. People will do. There are people who will do. There are people who will do things, anything for fame and fortune, and I don't think there's some sort of conspiracy behind that. And then there's people who have fame and fortune, and will also do pretty fucked up things to further their fame and fortune or to keep it. You know, I don't think there's a conspiracy there though.
Oh, that's not conspiracy. These stories have been told over the last 14, 15 years from people who have been abused and all. Like, it feels like they abuse you, and then when they're allowed to market off it, they'll let you get your vindication. Like to me, like by denying, because the reason why I'm saying that is because when the right wing talks about something going on in show business, they make it seem like it's a liberal plot, right? But if I tell you that mostly conservative fundamentalists are it doesn't matter if they're Jewish, Christian, Islamic, whatever, all that. It doesn't matter, black, white, gay. There's fundamentalists in the fucking system. When the right wing are pointing that out, they make it seem like it's because of like, oh look, liberalism is what's doing this, whatever. Show business is just as much conservative, and they have like fraternity-like rituals, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand why.
No doubt about it. There's people do. I mean, the problem is there are people who conflate like just someone having liberal politics with being like good people. Like, that's obviously not true. There's bad people who have good politics. Your politics don't always necessarily correlate with who you are as a person. And also there's people who just have those politics again just for their own benefit. They don't really feel that way.
And before I go, the reason why I'm pointing this out, because this ties in to far right Christian fundamentalism. See, okay, you know how when some of the evangelicals go, oh look, people in Hollywood are satanic devil worshippers, right? The thing is, if there is devil worshiping going on in show business, it's because show business is evangelical. So do you ever notice how people who have made, like, for example, I look at the Ultimate Warrior, for example. If there's sex abuse going on in WWE in like a fraternity like fucking
I mean,
way,
we know there was, at least. I don't know if
but
it,
okay, so also if Rowdy Piper came out and said Pat Patterson violate him, right? Now, when someone like Ultimate Warrior gets violent, it may have been, I don't know if he did, but let's say he did, whatever. I feel like that's done on purpose so that when you leave show business, like for example, Ultimate Warrior probably saw like gay sex predators in WWE, and like, you know what I mean. So then because he went through a fucked up experience, he then leaves that world, and he becomes somebody that thinks, oh, you know what? Being gay in general, for the people that I saw do that, are fucking horrible people. That, yeah, being gay is completely wrong. I always feel like there's a connection when people get abused in show business and then end up going the overly religious route because they may have been like, you know, they look at like Shawn Michaels.
I knew you were gonna bring up Shawn.
Yeah. Shawn Michaels is rumored to have, people would always insinuate, like Bret Hart and Howard Stern insinuated that Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon are, you know, fucking basically, and Howard had to like, well, I mean, people have insinuated that, right? But then Shawn Michaels became a born again Christian, and he used to refer. He goes, "Oh my God, I used to do dirty things," and all, like, he looks down on it. Like, I'm not saying that the power dynamic isn't what's fucked up. There's nothing wrong with being gay if that's what you are, whatever. But it feels like a lot of these people who like get violated or had to do stuff backstage in the entertainment world, they end up like Cat Williams is someone that I believe may have also been violated, and now he's going down the more anti-overly religious route as well. I just feel like there's a connection between the showbiz world and the evangelical world where they basically violate you and you end up getting so fucked up you get lured in by right-wing religious politics. And I know that's a conspiratorial thing, but I just believe there's a tie to it. And if we look at the root causes, then we can understand why some of these people go down the homophobic route or the transphobic route, because maybe it's not about the trans community or the gay community. It's because there's fundamentalists in that industry who might be gay as well. Like if Terry Crews can talk about how an executive felt comfortable enough to grab his dick at a party, like, this tells me that's like open season. That's like business as usual these places. So that's why I'm going conspiratorial in it. I'm not trying to take you in a right-wing path by what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to lure it so you don't go down a right-wing path. Because if the right-wing are controlling conspiracies, they're going to use it for their fundamentalist shit. Like, that's where show business, like, people are saying Kevin Sorbo and Chuck Woolery or Candace Owens, they're falling off because they're not in show business. But that's where show business is going, in that direction. Like, everything with Steven Crowder and all that kind of stuff, it's all now reality show business. That's where show business is going now. Hollywood expanded to the online community and the alt media, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think I understand. I mean, there's certainly there's certainly you know, everything that you mentioned that goes on in various industries, especially in entertainment, the broad entertainment industry. I just don't think it's all like interconnected and there's some sort of broad conspiracy there. I just think powerful people do messed up things, and when you are in an offbeat, unique industry, such as various different entertainment industries, where it's just not like people in an office and there's a corporate structure there, even though these things go on there too. But I just think like it enables bad people to do bad things easily or more easily. So that's why it happens or happens maybe, like, I'm not even sure if it even happens more often. I just think it's a bigger deal when it happens because we hear about it from people who are influential. Like, you know, I would wager that there is way more um, sexual harassment in your everyday office than there is that you hear about like happening in Hollywood.
See, I mean, listen, bro. What the call? I'm not saying you're wrong about in regular work. Like the thing is, the showbiz stuff gimmicks it up to basically make it relatable to what regular people go through. I don't want you to think that I'm denying that there's rampant amounts in regular working environments, whatever. But I do think that there is marketing. Like for example, I do think like for example they make like for example whenever like it seems like oh my god all these victims are just coming out of the blue out of nowhere and people start blaming the victims like why didn't you come out about it back in like 1995. But to me the conspiracy there would be if these powerful people have control of if these billionaires have control of law have like police and feds on their payroll what's it called like people like the thing is the media will get mad at people for asking the victims why didn't you come out? But the media are probably part of the reason why these victims don't come out. I'm sure these victims would have loved to have come out when they actually went through it. It's just the media doesn't care about it until you're ready to basically market the controversy and scandal because now you're going to make money off of it with documentaries and social.
I think that does happen, but I think the more common scenario is that people are scared. They feel weak. They feel alone. They feel like no one will believe them. Listen, what the scenario you mentioned has no doubt happened, and probably happened a lot more than just once or twice. But again, it's less conspiratorial, but the more common factor is people just don't want to go through the hassle of coming out and opening themselves up in that way. And then, probably getting attacked by people who don't believe them to begin with. So I think, again, I think you're onto something, but I don't think it's the whole thing.
Listen, I get what you're describing. I understand that happens with regular. I'm not denying that happens. But like, for example, if you're if you're a powerful person and you have like a lot of people on your fucking side, yeah, I agree. The people can get scared, but I also think that they're threatened if they say anything. Some of them can like if these guys are willing to abuse them systemically the way they do. I'm sure they threaten these people with murder and all that kind of stuff. Like if tomorrow it reveals tomorrow that Vince McMahon has actually physically killed people, would you be surprised? Like anyway, would you be surprised? Even though we can't prove that, obviously, but would you be surprised if you found out that Vince McMahon has like personally strangled hookers and buried them in his backyard? Would you be surprised?
Vince would never do that. Are you kidding me? He's no. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be. But there's a lot of people I wouldn't be surprised to hear that about. I mean, I guess it would be surprising that this is coming out and everything, but if you really like thought about it, it's probably not surprising.
Okay, listen. I'm gonna go. Listen, thank you for meeting me halfway. I know we didn't fully agree, but can you, if you don't agree with my conspiracy, can you at least acknowledge to like I know your other leftist buddies are gonna like the. I always like imagine the serfs watching this and like rolling his eyes laughing at me because I'm going conspiratorial. And he seems like one of those Lance seems like one of those kind of sneaky type of dude that does that.
No.
Can you at least acknowledge that at least my conspiracies that I'm trying to paint out are not trying to go into like an anti-Semitic territory? I'm not trying to go into a right-wing direction. Like at least we can agree on that. Like even though we didn't agree with my theories, whatever. I mean, in the future, this episode right now could make me look like a genius or make me look like the biggest fucking piece of shit ever. But regardless,
no, it's we're just talking, man. You don't have to worry about that. These are just we're just it's just a free flowing conversation. You're just putting things out there, thinking about things. You're not like going on the record here and saying this is going to be what happens.
Okay, I get you. Okay, I take you for your time. Thank you for allowing me on for almost like an hour, man. I
No,
appreciate
this
it.
was a
I'm
great
sorry.
conversation. I enjoyed the wrestling talk. I enjoyed this conversation towards the end. It was good stuff.
Thank you, man. Peace out, man.
All right, folks. Oh boy. I'm tired now. um let's I want to take one more call here. Let's see. Maybe we'll take a few more. Let's see how they hello, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it is Kowalski from Nebraska.
Hello, Kowalski from Nebraska. How are you? What would you like to talk about?
Well, kick off your shoes, lay back, and just, well, you can go to bed. Just give me the show for the next 8 hours, and I'm going to discuss the entire history of agriculture from start
we should
to
we
finish.
should do that. We should do that one day, actually.
All right. Am I allowed to do a Brett Weinstein impression the entire time?
Oh, please, by all means. I wouldn't want you to do it any other way.
Man, that would be maddening.
I would enjoy it.
So, I only wanted to call in and give a brief update on some decent news out of Ukraine. Are you interested in some decent news? It's not necessarily good news, but it's not bad news.
Okay. I'll listen to some decent news.
So, as I've told you all before, Ukraine is a major food exporter into the global markets. And, well, when the Russians decided to be a little goofballs, they really disrupted a lot of their ability to export. Most of their grain exports went by sea. Well, Ukraine, without a navy, has successfully sunk or incapacitated 1/3 of Russia's entire Black Sea fleet and has caused pretty much a full evacuation of Sevastopol's naval forces. So the entire sea is once again open up for trade, and Ukraine has actually surpassed pre-invasion export levels, which not many people thought was going to be possible. And this has also been like one of the only avenues Ukraine has been able to make any progress in a while. Basically, the land war is basically just like a slugfest at the moment. Ukrainians are enjoying being on the defensive, and they're inflicting something to the tune of 5 or 7 to 1 casualties, depending on where they are at. They're losing ground, but Russia is just throwing away a lot of conscripts, and it's pretty sad. But at least on the naval side of things, they're making a lot of progress. And because of this new position, Crimea is now under massive danger of basically getting cut off, which will put a lot of domestic pressure on the Russians to possibly do some sort of peace negotiation, probably after the election. So there is some bright news there, despite, the attritional land war in Europe. But yeah. So that's been pretty interesting. Unfortunately for me, and this is a me problem, because there's more commodities on the global market, my profits are going down. And that is why I am now pro-war against another major exporting power of Australia.
I didn't realize that you were...
It is time to wage war with Australia.
I didn't realize you were living high on the hog ever since the Russia-Ukraine war.
Oh yeah, the commodity spike was really good for us. I mean, it's like when a natural disaster hits. Like, oh no, Brazil just got hit with a huge drought. How terrible! Well, it's lower supply, the higher prices for good old Kowalski. I mean.
Wow, I didn't know you were like. I didn't know you were. That was you, Kowalski. I didn't realize. Wow, looking at you completely different now.
Yes. So, but like I
didn't realize that when there was price gouging going on, you were one of the price gougers.
Whoa now. Farmers are that we buy at retail and we sell at wholesale. We get screwed on both ends. We deal with monopolies before and after us, okay?
Likely story. Likely story.
Man, you are sounding a lot like my friends who get to sit in their nice offices and put, keyboard warriors here, like, oh, the farmers out here living off the government.
All right. Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was like that. It's okay. You people do what they got to do, and you just happen to be the type of person who raises your prices when things are in demand, and disasters are going on, and it just so happens that you sell necessities. So I mean, who am I to judge?
Look, what I learned during the pandemic is that I am an essential worker. Now, because of that, I am entitled to certain benefits in this society. And one of them is the privilege of getting paid more for my corn so you all can have, beef and chicken being sold at your fast food chains and stuff. Like, you eat the burgers, that's me. Like, I did that, not you guys. In fact, I don't even think the people making that food should get to make more than minimum wage. I should be getting paid more for that.
Oh, all right. Wow. I mean, I'll be honest. When we talk on this show about the military-industrial complex, I didn't know we were also talking. Included in that was Kowalski Farms. I'm sorry, but now I'm looking at you a little bit different.
That is true. We are actually a line item for the DoD. The USDA had to give us up. It was pretty staggering.
Well,
when the Pentagon can't justify its budget and they get audited and they can't explain it, it's because my accountant will not call them back.
I mean, I'll never look at you the same, but that's all right. Listen, you're still welcome to call into this show. We could use a class trader who calls in and wants to share the news.
Well, would you like me to get you a Raytheon sponsorship?
Oh, I mean, I would prefer a sponsorship from someone else. Well, how much is Raytheon paying?
Well, that depends on what you're willing to support.
Oh. Really, really depends how much they're willing to pay.
There is one thing I did actually want to mention, and it was with the fast food restaurant workers. When I was at university, because I'm a fancy lad like that, one of my econ professors at the time worked at McDonald's when he was going in, I think it was 68. He was pretty old then, but purchasing power parity, inflation, all of that, at the time, the equivalent of what minimum wage paid to a person flipping burgers at McDonald's in today's dollars would be roughly $30 to $35 an hour.
Oh, interesting.
So the fact that anybody is willing to get paid $20 an hour to do this is pretty nutty. And I mean, you're also talking about like a lot of the people getting paid $20 an hour right now, at least where I'm at locally, are more like managers. And I mean, Nebraska's a little better off than some of our neighbors because I think
they were talking about California specifically. I think there's a California law.
Oh, I get that too, but I just mean like even here in Nebraska, where our cost of living is still pretty low, we are going to be switching to a statewide $15 minimum wage. I think next year or the year after we'll reach that. Some ballot measure got passed to where we'll raise it $1.25 for 4 years until we hit $15 an hour. So the fact that like the nationwide one's still $7.75.
It's $7.50, I think.
Even worse, somehow worse. The fact that minimum wage is half of Nebraska's minimum wage, and Nebraska is considered one of the cheapest states to live in.
I'm sorry, it's 725. We were both wrong. We both were being too generous.
It just keeps getting worse. If we look again, it'll be 650.
Right, it'll keep going down. You know what? Wouldn't surprise me if it ended up going down instead of up. Really, with the way things go.
Well, we might have to get it to go down a bit more because, do we really have to pay the kids in the factories and in the meatpacking plants minimum wage? I mean, they don't eat as much.
Yeah, maybe we could push it down.
Yeah, exactly. Also, what's with the hate against Montana?
I don't have anything against Montana. I'm just speaking the hard truths. Out of
If
all
a
the states,
civil war broke out right now and Montana and New York were on opposite sides, Montana would win.
No, you're out of your mind.
They have hundreds of nuclear missiles. You
We'll
lose.
We beat them. We'll beat them. They wouldn't be able to access them.
They have farmers there. We've got blowtorches. It would take a minute, but we'll get to it.
I think we'd handle them pretty easily, pretty handily.
I don't know, man. That's a lot of territory you'd have to go through.
Right, a lot of territory with nobody there. So I mean,
have you ever been to Montana?
I'm sure it's a beautiful place. I'm sure the people there are wonderful. I'm not even talking trash about like anything in Montana because there's nothing in Montana to talk trash about. I'm just saying, out of all the states, it feels like Montana is the one known for the least. Like it doesn't have any there's no trade. It has no trademark. It doesn't have any like thing that it's known for.
What is Wyoming known for?
The Yellowstone.
There are more national parks in Wyoming or in Montana than Wyoming.
Yeah, but not known ones.
Well, not everyone's sitting on a giant volcano.
Right, but Wyoming is, and that's what they're known for.
Yeah, the ticking time bomb of the continent.
Still, that's people go to Wyoming to see. Isn't that where like the old geyser, whatever it's called, is or whatever?
Old Faithful.
Old Faithful, thank you. I couldn't remember the second word in the name.
Well,
people go to Wyoming to see that. What are you're not going to see that in Montana? What are you going to see in Montana? I don't know. What are you going to see in Montana?
Glacier National Park.
It's
one of the prettiest sites that's going to be going away here because of climate change pretty soon.
See, there you go. It's not even going to have that. I don't even know what Glacier National Park is. I have no idea what the hell it is.
Fine. Now I'm all of a sudden pro the oceans expanding and swallowing Lower Manhattan and Brooklyn.
Listen, I'm sure Montana is beautiful. I mean, you could say Montana is no. Danarchist is skiing. Montana is known for skiing. I mean, if that's true, I would say Colorado has it beat when it comes to being known for skiing.
No, too many people in Colorado. You got to go.
That's
Denver.
what it's known
It's
for.
this whole thing. No, go to Montana for skiing. You can ski in Montana until like June.
All right, that's nice, but it's not known for that. People don't go, oh, I'm going, when you hear someone say I'm going skiing, oh, you're going to Colorado? Oh, going to Vermont? Oh, going to, I don't know, fucking Alaska even over Montana?
Who goes to Alaska to ski?
I know, I'm thinking snow. I don't know, man. Like, think about it. Hawaii is known for tropical island, paradise, whatever. California is known for all the fucking shit California is known for. Hollywood, all the stuff. Oregon's got the trail, and Portland, Washington's got Seattle, and it's always rainy. Even Idaho's got potatoes. I mean, I can keep going down the list.
A lot of white nationalists.
And that too, but it's known for something. You can just keep going down the list. Utah's got the Mormons. Salt Lake City, you name every state and there's something it is known. It has a trademark. I cannot think of what Montana's trademark is.
What is Nebraska's trademark?
I don't know, like farms and shit.
All right, fair enough. You are right on that one. Actually,
I think Nebraska. I think of
is
farms.
93% of our land area is dedicated to agriculture in one way or another.
Right, there you go. And I'm sure I could think of something else, actually, Nebraska's known for. I mean, Oklahoma's got the Oklahoma. But it's also the heart of America. What else? Kentucky is known for, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Every state's got a trade. You know what? I'll say this. I don't know what the fuck
What is New
Indiana's
Mexico known for?
New Mexico is known for being New Mexico. It's just it's Mexico but new. I guess you could throw in a few other states. What's New Mexico known for? I mean, it's got that it's got Albuquerque, right? Yeah, Albuquerque.
It is best known as the place Breaking Bad took place in. That's what
true.
New Mexico
That's true.
is known for.
That's true. That's true. But Montana's got nothing. Montana doesn't even have that.
You know, for a state the size of Japan, you would really think we would have more value out of Montana. I mean, Montana literally means mountains, and it has fewer mountains than Japan.
Like I'm looking
should have more people.
I thought maybe Yellowstone, that hit show.
Part of Yellowstone is in Montana.
Yes, and I thought, then I bet it's gonna be in Montana, but I'm looking. Is it in Montana?
Yeah, Yellowstone.
I guess it is. Okay, yeah. There you go. Montana's got something now. Yellowstone, the show, takes place in Montana. There you go.
I think David Letterman also has a ranch there. So.
All right. Well, there you go. We finally figured out what Montana is known for.
All right. It is known for Yellowstone, not the park, the show.
I mean, it does have part of the park, but it's not known. Like no one, when someone says they're going to Yellowstone Park, they're going to Wyoming. They're not going to Montana.
Well, you know why you don't go to Yellowstone in Montana, right?
No, I don't. Why?
Legal jurisdiction of that is ambiguous. So
really?
if you got murdered there, it's possible there'd be no way of actually prosecuting you due to Yellowstone is supposed to be under Wyoming's jurisdiction, but because it overlays into Montana, that's actually like a plot point in the show. It's like this quirky fun fact for like a certain stretch of square miles, there's like an area where no one knows who's technically in charge.
All right, so there's two things I have to say based on that. One, again, another reason to not that Montana shouldn't really Montana, the place where you can murder someone and not and not be charged. I mean, there you go. They got something, but also I don't know if that's exactly what you want to be known for. And then two, I mean, it sounds like you're telling me not that you shouldn't go there and get murdered, but you're telling me that it's a great place to murder.
Yes, that is what I am telling everyone to do.
Yes.
Get your enemy to meet you in Montana,
right.
Yellowstone.
Right. Man, I gotta say, people are saying Big Sky. Yeah, I know Montana. I guess that is Montana's classic thing. But I mean, every state has a sky, right? I mean, I know they're talking about the community, and they're talking about that like Rocky Mountain. But like again, if you're visiting the Rockies, you don't go to when someone says they're visiting the Rocky Mountains, I don't think Montana. I think like I don't know, fucking. Well, again, Wyoming, I guess, Colorado. Where are the Rocky Mountains? I don't even fucking know.
It's a mountain chain. It goes through all of them.
I know it does, but where's the main mountain?
Well, I think technically the biggest one outside of Alaska is in Colorado, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what people think of Colorado. Skiing, mountains, Rocky Mountains.
Well, okay, we've settled it then. Montana is fine, and you don't dislike it. You just don't know much about it.
No, no, Montana is fine. I never had any beef with Montana. It is rather large for a state that provides very little.
It's a massive agricultural producer. What are you talking about?
It provides very little.
It also is our nuclear shield. Have the
I
Ruskies
mean,
hit us yet? No.
that should
Why
tell you everything, though.
Montana?
Whoever made the decision was like, listen, all these states have stuff going on there. There's a lot of people around. We need to put this somewhere where there's fucking nothing going on. Montana, perfect.
Well, they technically put the missiles in the rain shadow of the Rockies, which is one of the lowest populated places in the country. Which
And where is that? In Montana, right?
part of Montana, Wyoming, Nebraska, the Dakotas, and Colorado.
Listen, I would without a doubt visit Montana. I bet I would even enjoy living in Montana. Just, I don't know how well I would do for a while, but I could imagine staying there for a period of time. I'm sure it's a beautiful place. I'm sure I'd fall in love with the place. All I'm saying is that out of all the states,
there's better restaurants.
Out of all of the states, it does feel like Montana is the known for the least. I'm sure. What states have the least tourism? It would surprise me if Montana wasn't number one. Let me look. What states have the? I don't know how to look for this.
God, I feel like that would be North Dakota, not Montana. Maybe smallest tourist economy by state.
All right, it's up there. It's not number one, but it's up there. This one, number one, makes complete sense because location, of course. Alaska. No one's fucking going to Alaska, even though, I would say it has more. It's more known for more than Montana. But
that's surprising given the hunting. But
yeah, but you know why? If you basically have to go through all of Canada to get to Alaska. It's nowhere fucking close, and it's not like you're traveling to go to a fucking paradise like in Hawaii. You're traveling to fucking wear more clothing than you've ever had to wear at once in your entire life.
Wait, who's number 2 on the list?
West Virginia, which I guess again makes sense. Number 3, I'm sorry, Kowalski, but it is Nebraska apparently.
Oh yeah, it's not for everyone.
Yeah, and then hold on, just got an ad. Wait, hold on, I just found a different list. I mean, there's some overlap. There's a few lists, I guess, but it seems like the prevalent one is Alaska, West Virginia, Nebraska, Wyoming, Delaware, Montana, New Hampshire, and Vermont.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense at all. Who doesn't go to New Hampshire and Vermont for the leaves?
I mean,
This is a conspiracy.
Vermont, I would assume Vermont gets visited more, but New Hampshire, I mean, if we're talking states that's known for very little, I mean, New Hampshire's got to be fucking up there. What the fuck?
Isn't New Hampshire a New York suburb?
Very funny. I mean, all I think of with New Hampshire, when I hear New Hampshire, all I think of is libertarians. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I think of New Hampshire.
Well, alrighty, I will let you go. I'm getting a call from some missile defense company. Apparently, we need to get paid more. So,
right, all right, Kowalski, great call. This was a lot of fun. Congratulations. Oh no, condolences, I should say, for the depletion of your riches. You go from making what?
Greater food security is just hurting my bottom line. This
right.
Sucks.
What you go from making what 8 figures to 7 figures?
Have a good night.
Take care. Oh my God. I'm not like well traveled, so like there's states that I know, like the states I've gone to are obviously states I want to visit. Like I've been to Louisiana, New Orleans is great. Been to Florida because of Disney World, so I can't say the whole state is great. Disney World is great. I've been to Vegas. I enjoy Vegas. It's nice. Wouldn't live there though. I would live in New Orleans. Out of all the places I've visited, New Orleans is the one I'd probably live in, other than New York City. I also really liked San Antonio. I visited Austin, and we stayed in Austin for a family wedding. And then, because of Pee Wee Herman, the Alamo called to me. It said, Matt, on the day you have off, there's no wedding event. You must drive to the Alamo. It's not that far. So we drove to the Alamo, and then we drove, and then we walked around. We went to by the river or whatever it is, where all the restaurants and stuff is. I thought it was awesome. I really liked San Antonio. I liked San Antonio better than I liked Austin. I actually was very underwhelmed with Austin. Philadelphia is nice. I've never really spent too much time there. I've only, because it's so close to New York, it's you could visit and drive back the same day. So every time I've been to Philly, it's been for just a day's visit and driving back the same day. Baltimore is nice, you know, certain parts of it, obviously. What else? DC is nice. I enjoy DC because, you know, my son, I enjoyed taking my son to DC because he really enjoyed, he enjoys history and learning about the government. What else? Richmond, Virginia. I've been there. That's all right. Nothing special. I'm not a big fan. I mean, and this is most cities. I'm not a big fan of cities that aren't walkable. Cities should be walkable. And New York City's got more area that's walkable than any place I've ever been in the United States of America, at least. DC, Austin, all these places are not walkable. Everything's too far apart, especially Austin. I couldn't believe it. That's supposed to be a big upcoming city. You can't fucking walk anywhere there for shit. San Antonio is more walkable. I haven't been to Boston. I've been to I forgot where I visited in Massachusetts. Where's the Thomas the Tank Engine theme park? I've been to Carver, Massachusetts. It never reopened, did it? It's closed, is it? It's closed for now. Oh, it's going to reopen in the summer. Okay. Carver, Massachusetts. Got to go to Boston. New Orleans I loved. I really enjoyed New Orleans. It probably also helped that some of the locals came up to me and thought I was one of the local like punk kids, and they were asking me and I was like, "Oh no, I'm just visiting. I'm a tourist. I can't help you for shit for directions." That happened a few times actually. So maybe that's slightly tainting my view, but I really enjoyed New Orleans. Los Angeles, I wasn't impressed with, honestly. It was all right. Nothing crazy. I'm not a beach guy. That's the thing. I'm not a beach guy. And it seemed like that's what you do if you're in Cali, right? The beaches. I'm just not a beach guy. Right, Tokyo. It's Boston, famous for Boston Market, right? Yeah. Yes, there were a lot of electric scooters on the street, Spasticus in Austin. it was too much. It was almost like littering. That's how like it felt like litter. It wasn't like, oh, how nice. Like in New York, we have the city bike like hubs. So it's like sort of neat, and there's not just like bikes everywhere, like just laying on the ground all over the place. In Austin, it honestly felt like the scooters were just garbage scattered all across the floor. They were just like laying in the middle of the sidewalk everywhere, upside down, inside out. Just it was a mess. But yeah, I hate to say it. It sucks. It sucks that I grew up and have always lived in New York City. Because I'm gonna do the most New York thing imaginable now, right? Right, here we go. Because it is the greatest city on earth. But it is. I mean, I am truly spoiled to have this been for New York City to be my default, my version of what normal is, because it honestly makes everything else look pale in comparison. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but it's the truth. We're spoiled if you live in New York, man. You really are. I could go out right now and pretty much at almost 1 a.m. and get any fucking food I'm hankering for, and get it from like a legit place with people who actually know how to make that specific type of food due to their background or whatever. Let me take this call. Last call of the night. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Matt, it's Omega. What's up?
Hey, Omega, you calling in to bask in the glory of New York City with me?
Yes.
I had a feeling.
Except for the stupid tourists that walk incredibly slow and then give me road rage every time.
Listen, I got nothing against people. No, tourists. I have no problem with them. But I'm just saying, like, New York is like it's. Wait, listen, I'm not saying New York got everything. Obviously, New Orleans got the Bourbon Street area. Like there's really like the culture and everything down there. I think it's fantastic, and obviously New York doesn't have anything that rivals that. There's I would say there. I'm saying there. I'm not saying. I will say there are cities I've visited that have things that you cannot find in New York, but I'm saying as an all-around city, New York is the best.
Yeah, I would say because our public transportation is solid enough that there's a good fraction of people that don't even need to use a car ever, except for in particular situations. A few things like that. The congestion pricing people kind of like are not very happy about at my job because some of them have to drive back and forth at times.
Listen, listen. I'm sure that'll suck for some. I wish there were more carve outs for people who need to bring their vehicles there, and they don't really necessarily have a job that's going to, for various reasons. There should be more carve outs, especially for people who are in the area. But because really, that's really meant to cut down on industrial traffic and people coming in from outside of New York City. But yeah, I'm not gonna die on that hill because I think overall it's good.
Where I feel like it's the most justified is when you see that M42 bus going along 42nd Street. And then you see all those coach buses parked on the bus lane, because the bus lane typically is like the rightmost lane on where it's traveling. That's the one where I'm like, oh man, that is ass. You have to base it. It's almost like it's a little faster than walking, but still enough to piss you off. And you're like, I just have to go over there, man. Like, come on. And then you're like, just like, and if you're a passenger, I'm assuming you're ultimately frustrated because you're like, likely the bus gets full because it's not because it has a regular size of a bus. It's not the one with the accordion and the extra, pretty much cart. It's just the one, and then it stops pretty much like every single block. So as a result, it gets very slow.
Right.
I know because I've seen it. They used to have it. They used to have a select bus on there. But anyways, that's beside
Listen,
the.
I'm sure, maybe outside of the country, but in terms of in the U.S., I haven't seen a public transit system anything like what we got in New York, honestly, and I'm obviously saying that in a good way. I mean, is it perfect? Obviously not, but is it better than any other cities in the United States? Absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to other parts of the. I wouldn't go to other parts of the country and then trust in them having something solid like that. And
I mean, almost every
That's
every
what
city
people-
I've been to, if they even do have a public transit that you could actually use to get somewhere that you got to get to, the hours they run are very limited, like very, very limited. Like
Yeah,
New York City, I could get on the subway right now.
it's like that. No, Boston is very strict.
Where strict?
Like in Boston, like their public transportation is good, but it's very strict and like it's like after midnight, you're kind of toast if you try to travel anywhere after midnight. I've heard stories of people who, like, I used to listen to Bodega Boys podcast, and one of them talked about how they had a sneaky link, and so they went to see somebody in Boston, and then they foolishly stayed past midnight, and then they had to pay for a ride pretty much across state lines to New York.
Yeah, I mean, if I think if I was king of America, the first thing I would do, well, I don't know about the first thing, but one of the first things I would do is heavily invest in the major cities in this country to put more into their public transportation and to make cities more walk. That would be the first thing I would do, because that would solve so many things, so many tentacled problems. Make more walkable cities with robust public transit services. I think it would solve so many issues. Not completely, but certain aspects of them, and it would be the start of solving them completely.
Yeah, I would agree. Like that would be a big thing of it for me. I would just, yeah, all corporations got to pay the taxes right now, or piss off, and because they can't exist elsewhere. So it's the reason why they stay in the United States for the most part, except for like in certain countries, obviously. But yeah, that would be one of the rules. But what I wanted to talk about was, so got all the wrestling out of the way, which, by the way, didn't really dawn on me that the thing with Cody and Seth tag teaming against The Rock and Roman, it didn't dawn on me until kind of that night. I was like, oh, this is meant for him to lose, so it looks like everything's stacked against him, and they create the whole situation.
Oh, really? I hate to say it. I don't want to make you feel bad, but it was
until later.
super obvious that was the
It's one of those you don't think about it too hard until like night of, you're like, you know what? That makes the most sense, because otherwise it's just like Cody wins the whole time and they kind of kill the suspense.
Again, not to punch down at you, but the second they announced that match, I was like, oh, this is for the storyline purpose of Rock and Roman winning, so that the bloodline rules and the odds are stacked against Cody. But this time, Cody has his own backup, whether he realizes it or not.
Yeah, for sure. I think maybe one of these days you should do like a wrestling show with I think Queen of the Ring. She's very good, and she works.
Who is that?
Alex Laha. She's like with I think she works with Fightful. I'm not exactly sure the details of that, and she's on Twitch as Queen of the Ring, and she watches like matches from different companies too. She has like the funniest clips ever of herself or whatever, just saying the goofiest stuff. So She used to actually she recently had to stop watching Total Bellas because those allegations came out. She's like, yeah, seeing John Laurinaitis and all that stuff kind of taints it. So it's like, I hope their mom dumps his ass like horribly, because like, come on. I'd imagine he probably had illicit intentions with the Bellas upon signing them and shit like that too. Now that I think about it.
Well, you have to remember he's actually a victim in all this too. There's nothing I believe less.
I have to tell you
that.
I'm a victim in this situation too. I was told by this to do all these things, and people power.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I gotta before it's I'm losing time here, and I really gotta do it. I need to go to wrestling school before it's too late. I need to just do it. I need to pull the trigger and do it. It is a lifelong dream of mine. I don't think anything's gonna come out of it. Just to do like how people sign up for a gym to get exercise. I need to go to wrestling school and just live that dream before it's too late, because I'm getting up there. In a couple of years, it's gonna be too late, and that ship has sailed.
I wanted to try it too when I was like 27, 28, and I'm like, yeah, but then to get into shape for that, because I was not in shape at all. I'm in more shape now, but with COVID and everything, and I have asthma, so I was like, damn it. And then when I had a bit of this wild ass injury that I had like 2 years ago, it kind of set me back a bit too, because it was one regarding my legs. It's like, oh man, my hamstrings, like, I don't know if it'll take it. I was like, ugh. And then all this stuff, it's like, damn. It really kind of killed my buzz on that, because in 2019 I really was like, no, I'm gonna get serious. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna really try to commit. I'm gonna really try to like get into great shape. And I was actually really on a good path until COVID hit, and like I was slimmed down and all the stuff like that, and I was seeing some definition and stuff like that was working out. But then COVID hit, and then I was more prone to just literally like eating wings at home while I was working, just like, yeah, whatever, I'm just gonna eat wings and drink soda and then just like be working on my computer when I'm on the clock and da 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 da. It's like, damn, that fucked me up. But I'm getting back on that now by like cutting out soda a little bit and cutting out a lot of sweets in general, just so I can kind of be like, you know what, just kind of keep that there, so at least I can kind of have a beach vibe by the summer. But anyways, not to get too personal about it. So what I would really like to talk about after all this.
Oh, wow. Wait, I don't know if we got time, but let's see how long this goes. I was just about to say that's the show, but go ahead, quick.
So I was gonna bring up, because some folks brought up like some TOT stuff earlier. So today was like a specific show that Anna had, where she was being asked questions, and one of them, somebody asked her stuff about something that kind of connected to her changing her views. And then she mentions like because she focused on these squatter stories lately, which started to piss me off. And it got to a point in the chat where people like myself and a few others were more vocal about stuff, and we got our messages deleted in the chat. I almost hold that as a badge of honor in that regard, because I kind of called her an NB. I'm not gonna lie, an NB turf person, and I'm like, I still believe it, to be honest. And the thing is, like, she mentions that her dad was a landlord, and that there was times when the tenants didn't pay, blah blah. And I'm like, look, if you are, and if someone's such a person as this thing is like, if you're one and you're honest and you're not an asshole and you're not trying to squeeze as much money out of people as humanly possible, or you don't get so like freaking arrogant that you just want to get like rich people or get all the tax breaks from like keeping an empty property and all stuff like that, that's totally fine. But unfortunately, most of them are terrible. Many are just awful people, and that's why a lot of people meme and say Mao Zedong all day. But some people really feel that way, because how many horror stories do you hear of that? I know of one near me that his tenants were mainly women, and he was kind of being a prick. He jacked up his rent by quite a lot, and then also he would be like letting himself into some people's apartments, especially the women that lived in his building, and he could go in there unannounced, move furniture around, leave, and then people would just be like being spooked, like, what the hell's going on? And then a few of the occasions somebody said it happened while they were showering even. So it's like, which is like, if you're not a man, actually in general, if you're like showering, like your worst fear is somebody kind of like fucking psycho, and then fucking killing you while you're taking a shower or some dumb shit like that. It's like nonsense like that. So it's like, yeah, your dad is not doing that type of thing, but don't like, and people are, like, hate landlords, but it's like most of them are pretty awful. Like, you can't, like, the actions of most kind of ruin it for like an honest person like that. So sorry if that's the case, and how they're tweaking the squatter laws. But anyways, and then this other situation about how she talked about getting sexually assaulted, and it might have been with a homeless man. I don't remember the full story anymore, but it's like, come on, Anna, you can't just look at that one person and then think all homeless people are like that. And then today you could not write this irony. She talked about the squatters again in the story, but then literally right after talked about how California might have been a little fishy with some money that was supposed to be for homeless people. So it's like, okay, well, homelessness kind of gets people to do things like crime, and some of those crimes include squatting. So in a time of a housing crisis and things constantly getting expensive, especially the things that are the most necessary becoming the most expensive, and people have to get really creative of where they purchase their groceries from and all this other stuff, and then they have to try to find out who shares what password to which streaming app if they allow it anymore, and all this other stuff. Like, all these things exist because people are like broke as hell, because all these companies want to suck up all the money, but nobody wants to pay more for it. Wants to pay more regardless how much more money they're getting, and then they take that money and then they do like stock buybacks and things like that. So it's like, you can't be this. And like half of the chat was even saying like, that's nice and all, but how does this make you like make you have issues with addressing trans people who can still carry a baby to term? Like, what about them? Things like that. And it's like, you can't be that person that takes a few of these things. Like, granted, some of those things, yes, would make you rethink things, but be also that person's like, well, I know enough that that's not always the case. And I know that this one situation, it doesn't apply in the rest of these situations. It's like, you can't hold it against every migrant and every homeless person, and then also be empathetic to every landlord who like gets a type of way about this stuff. It's like, I'm sorry, like, you can't just have it that way and then be that person that like gets angry when people are like saying, well, no, my experience says, no, these homeless people sometimes die on the street, and then because people keep trying to find ways to like not let them in and then push them to some other place, they could be somebody else's problem. And it's like, or these people don't have a place to stay and all that stuff, and they resort to some wild means of doing so. And it's the saddest thing, because hey, I mean, some of the community gardens in this city kind of became what they are because of squatting laws, and they became like a space for the neighborhood. But without that, and a lot of good things would not be born in certain neighborhoods. So it's kind of like, I hate the ignorance of this stuff like that. And I sometimes don't like, I only subscribe to them now at this point, just because the early half of the day, the shows are good, the people are good, except for when they have Ben fucking Glebe on there. I get tired of hearing his Zionist ass. Which, by the way, Dylan Burns, he's very Zionist. You need to like look into him more, because now he's like, yeah, he's definitely off. Because it's like he was fine on stuff. Yes, he definitely.
What has he said?
He said on his Twitter. You should just check his Twitter and see like his because he's definitely gotten to the point of like just saying it's Hamas all the time and all this stuff. And it's like, come on, man, you were like kind of reasonable with like the Ukraine stuff, and it was great that he was doing like some good work on that. And it's like he just undercuts it completely. It's like, oh man.
I haven't seen Dylan Burns show up on my feed. That must be a problem with Twitter, honestly.
Yeah, Twitter's a little iffy. Yeah, I haven't seen you or Emma or anything like that pop up on there too often. I mean, it's cool that I see a lot of people who actually don't follow politics actually like repost people like yourself and Nina Turner and stuff like that. That's always like a really good thing, saying that, hey, people kind of understand what's going on here. But so that's always like a nice surprise there. It's like, oh, I know that guy. But yeah, just that's just one thing I take major issue with, because I get very tired of like this constant, and also the constant focus on the shoplifting things. Like, dear God, man, like it only happens in the more uppity places places anyways, and the other places, I mean, they're just locking everything down, and it's even gotten to a point where if I go to Duane Reade, a security guard has to be the one to open the plexiglass for me so I could get detergent or deodorant. And then Target little bit too, and it's like, so where's this shoplifting happening? Because sometimes they even have cops there, so they get really fucking gung ho about all this other shit. It's like, we have to be for real about this, because it's like, and I feel like it's gone to such a fucking NIMBY little bubble there with the main show. Like the other people that are not the main two people have like a difference in opinion and at least push back a little bit. But
Right.
yeah, it's that's my biggest thing. It's just like the other year kind of blew it open for me, and it's like, and then when she started bad mouthing Olay, saying that Olay lied, it's like, but you one time after everything, and then you keep quoting her thing about closing down Rikers, but you kind of say it in a very bad faith way, so people think that she's talking about closing down jails in general. It's like, my God.
Yeah, I honestly, I would be probably more into. I'm always open for a good trash talk, but I'm getting tired.
Nah, that's all good.
So thanks for the call, as always. Enjoyed talking with you. We'll have to pick this up earlier next time. Sounds good?
Oh yeah, definitely. I always catch you like when I'm leaving the gym, so.
I hear you. All right, man. Take care. Have a great night.
Later, Matt. Bye.
Peace. All right, that's the calls. I'm shutting off Skype. Where are my live super chats? Look at this. All right, well, there's a few here. All right, let's do this. Crew Herks with two $5 super chats each, total $10. I'm gonna read both of these. Punk wasn't just a wrestler; he was part of corporate and the head booker of Collision. The elite were not duty-bound to work with him when he randomly assaults people and refuses to talk to anyone without threatening to get his lawyer. Attacking co-workers and your boss is unacceptable. No excuses. He was just a wrestler. He wasn't part of corporate, as far as I know. But also, yes, obviously, he's in the wrong here. But I'm saying, what I was saying earlier is that the footage doesn't make him look bad. If, like, what do you care if he works... what do you care? Like, what is the viewer? I don't mean like you personally. I mean, what is the viewer of the AEW show care about whether a Punk was being a bad coworker? What they see is the AEW guy, Jack Perry, getting choked by Punk and him doing nothing back to Punk. It makes their guy look weak to show that. That's all I'm saying. Donald James with a membership chat. Member for 9 months. Thank you, Donald James. Still here supporting you, Binder. Love you, buddy. Thank you. Renee with 2 super chats. Petty bloated demons. The see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil monkeys. No idea what you're talking about, Renee. Oh, you got another one here. Oh, you're talking about... Okay. Renee with another super chat. How much spit do you want in that burger, PPD? There you go. I know what you're talking about there, my friend. And that was pretty funny. You got to leave that context, my friend. Tokyo Hans with a 9-month membership super chat. I would like to see these guys work at a fast food restaurant for 3 months and only survive on those wages, including having to pay for housing. Absolutely. Mike Thompson with a super sticker. Thank you so much, Mike Thompson. Really appreciate that. James Phillips with a super chat. The host ran an MLM. He doesn't believe in workers. Did he? I have to look more into PBD, whatever his name is. I don't really know too much about him. Tokyo Hans with 2 back-to-back super chats here. That Arizona law was written just 12 years after the U.S. took it from Mexico. Mama, make Arizona Mexico again. And then another super chat here from Tokyo. Saying thank you to people in the service industry is important, but it is nuanced. For example, good way, thank you. Bad way, thank you, peasant. Right, I guess. I hope you're not doing the last one. Renee with a super chat. It's the man show for Gordon Gecko rejects. Oh, that's a good way to describe that, actually. Describe the PBD show, Renee. Balthazar228 with a $10 super chat. Excuse me while I yawn. Balthazar, I already said Balthazar 228 with a $10 super chat. I'm so mad that WWF and WWF couldn't come together and give me the Panda WrestleMania I craved in the 90s. It will always suck that they had to change their name to WWE because it just does not roll off the tongue like WWF. Jay Cass with a super chat. New night shift job. Gonna miss Leftist Mafia live and stuff. Oh, man. Well, you can always catch the replay. All right? You don't lose everything. Wanda with a 9-month membership chat. Thank you, Wanda. Got my Maryland primary ballot today and uncommitted to any presidential candidate is a checkbox. Well, check that box. I wish we had that in New York. Tokyo Hans with the 2 back-to-back super chats again. All this Montana hate. You got to go to the Little Bighorn Battlefield National Monument. Oh, I'll have to check that out if I ever go. Matt, quick, what is Connecticut known for? Oh, that's super easy. WWE headquarters, baby. Stamford, Connecticut. What, you trying to pull one on me, or are you was that for real, or were you did you ask that knowing I was going to say that? Bernice Anders with a super chat. Tell Kowalski New Hampshire is a suburb of Boston, not NYC. I mean, there you go. Yeah. Kowalski with a $10 super chat. Here, I had some extra money from cheating hungry people out of rent money for food. Now the blood money is in your wallet. Oh, no. You know what, Kowalski? Feel free to send me as much blood money as you want. Calibrating with, is this Swedish money? What is a sec? Are you sending me a Swedish krona? Cool. I'll take it. Calibrating asks, can you get moose kebab with mash and lingonberry jam and raw onion slices? Get it. My contribution might get you as far as the mash. You're correct that right now at 1:30 a.m. in the morning, I probably cannot find a Swedish place, at least where I am in Queens. I could basically probably find any sort of Asian food right now. And probably some American food too, obviously, like pizza and stuff. But I don't know where I could find moose kebab. I'm sure there's a place, but I'm unfamiliar. However, the lingonberry jam with the mashed potatoes, that's easy peasy. I get that at any IKEA. I can get, that's the Swedish meatball mashed potato lingonberry combo. Easy. Any IKEA. That is my favorite thing to get at IKEA. I actually really like Swedish meatballs and the lingonberry sauce and the mashed potatoes. That's good stuff. Izzy Sanchez with a super chat. Wanted to donate from one fellow New Yorker to another. Oh, thank you, Izzy. I appreciate that. It's good to know there's so many New Yorkers who watch, because I would like to do live shows. I've said this before. I did that one Scam Economy live show, and I'd love to do more. And, you know, obviously to have a New York City viewership is pretty detrimental, not detrimental, pretty substantial factor into running a live show. Tokyo Han says Swedish meatballs are actually Turkish. No way. Now over on Twitch. First of all, who should I rate on Twitch while I read these comments? Serious Business resubscribed for 1 month at tier 1. Subscriber for 28 months. Wow. Thank you so much, Serious Business. Valinova give out 10 community gift subs. Thank you so much, Valinova. I noticed you often give out those gift subs. Jeez, now I got the hiccups. I really appreciate it. Oh my god, I'm falling apart. Hiccups and yawning. Berserk Jezerk cheered 100 bits. Beard coming in nice, dude. Yeah, is it? Thank you. Kowalski says it sounds like Majority Report is getting a Brooklyn live show organized. Just join them. I do know that yes, there is a live show in the works. I don't know if I'll be part of it. I'm assuming I'll be invited. Yeah, but I would love to do my own too, and I'd love to do them more often than Majority Reports one every 2 years. It seems. I would love to do like a few a year. I'm not saying I'm selling out the Bell House like Majority Report does. I would get a smaller venue, but I would love to do a live show like a couple times a year, maybe in front of like 100 live people while streaming. You know. Maybe somewhere in that range. Yeah, I'm falling fast. Another one's coming. Are you ready? Oh my God! Chadwick Von Mack, resubscriber to Prime, subscriber for 3 months. Thank you so much, Chadwick. Keep up the good work, Matt. Mr. Oakby cheered 100 bits, then another 100 bits. That's a total of 200 bits. Thank you so much, Mr. Oakby. BB Junkie cheered 100 bits as well. Raytheon stock now, pretty please. There you go. Oh, and you guys gave me a hype train so much. Really appreciate it. And here we go. Oh, Mr. Oakby with 1,000 bits. Thank you so much. And once again, Peganox, thank you so much for the raid. Wow, Mr. Oakby, thank you so much for all those bits. I really appreciate it. And folks, don't forget the bits, the live stream, super chats, all that, the memberships on Twitch and YouTube, greatly appreciated. Keep those, if that's what you want to do, keep doing those. But if you can, patreon.com/MattBinder and subscribe for a monthly contribution via Patreon. That'd be a great way to support, only if you can afford to do so, please. I would never ask anyone who can't to do it. I'm not one of those people who's like, come on, you gotta give, I'm dying here. I mean, maybe if I was dying here, I would be like that, but I don't think I could do that. Maybe if I got down to that. But please. Oh, I got another super chat. Thank you so much, JCass. Yawns in Espanol, says JCass. All right, who am I rating on Twitch? I did not see. Did people give me suggestions? Conyer CC. We rated Conyer CC for Leftist Mafia last week. Jack asks, how does one call in? Sorry, Jack, not taking any more calls tonight. About to end the show. But you can do, have Skype ready for next time I'm streaming and search Doomed Live. Doomed Live. But you know what? Everyone's saying Conyer right now. I don't see any other suggestions. So you know what? Fuck it. Nothing says I can't raid someone 2 times in a row. So, folks, don't forget, Majority Report tomorrow, Leftist Mafia tomorrow, yeah, where is, I don't see Conyer on. Is Conyer on? Yes, they are. All right, folks. I will see you all next time on Doomed.